We shut the AC off, right?
So unprofessional.
I'll take that. Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's one of those days.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
So you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks.
You know what's up.
You don't really know why, but you gotta justify.
Ripping someone's head off.
No,
What am I doing?
I just had to adjust myself.
Oh, I see.
All right. Heroes and
Hi.
villains, welcome to the Campaign 1 post-show for Initiative!
Woo!
I was like, who's making that? What's happening? I am your Professor GM, Colby, your Professor GM for all of this. Joined here by my lovely cast and crew, and in a different order, David.
Hi, I'm David. I used to play as Adam Mercury.
Nicole.
Cheers.
And Cory.
Hi, the player formerly known as Elias Crowley.
All right, it's been a ride just getting here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
literally. But you know what?
Physically getting to this location.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? We're here, and we're gonna have a good time, right?
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about all this.
I got lots of questions ready to be answered.
Yeah, I wrote like 4 when we got here.
Yeah. So, as always, chat. Let us know if you have any problems with the audio or looking at the stream or anything like that. If you liked what you see here, you're like, who are these guys? I want to maybe listen to see what they're about to talk about. Check us out on all of our social medias over at Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts,
Say
Podbean.
Pod nod.
Nods.
I'll never remember.
Pod nod
that.
sounds
Pod
made
nods.
up.
It does.
It sounds
It
offensive.
doesn't sound real.
It just rhymes. Pod
Like
nod.
it sounds
Yeah.
like an insult. You fucking pod nod.
It's definitely like a British insult. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you pod nod. If that
I
is
ain't no pod nod.
if that is an insult, we're very sorry.
Cancel.
So, of course, we'll open up in a few minutes to questions of both fan and our variety over here that we have acquired. Before then, I'm just going to go over really briefly all the arcs of Season 2, just as we did for Season 1, what episodes entailed, and then we'll get to questions. Sound good?
Yeah.
All
do
right.
it.
Not much here. So the first arc we had from episodes 1 to 9, so 9 episodes long, is the guest character arc.
Yes.
So this is where we introduce the Belgrade family, Samuel and Evan,
Yes.
as well as Jacob Riviera, played by our own Mod
Uh-huh.
right here, and with Mr. Sadinsky and the Varu family as the villains. So that was the first 9 episodes, which lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to, for sure. Then we have the Union's Crest arc, which is from episodes 10 to 15, which included the introduction of Rook Nova, Union's Crest as the city, their bounty hunt mission that you guys had, and the battle with the Umbra Collective back in the hangar.
All right.
From episodes 16 to 21, we have the Nabaya arc, which included the Retribution's Forge episodes, the Palace of Shakar infiltration, the betrayal from Fira, and, by the way, spoilers, as well as the Sewers, Maria, and Wilt Lucius's resurrection. And then finally, we have the final arc, which is from episodes 22 to 32, which include the Sovereign's proposal, the preparation and the tournament you guys made, Oklahoma,
Training.
V's dilemma, and the final battle, along with everything that entails, with Wilt Lucius and the post-epilogue, I should say, over there.
So much happened
I
in this
know.
season. A lot happened.
There was a lot more condensed into this season. So, roughly the same amount of episodes, right? So
Yeah.
it was like 31,
take,
32
Yeah.
over here. So, which was definitely not intentional at all. They just kind of ended up that way, which is interesting.
It's now our
It's
average.
not a bad thing, I
guess.
don't think.
Yeah. I mean, this season, to me, going through season 2 was very, it felt almost less focused in some ways than season 1, where I think that was only because you knew who the villain was very early of season 1.
Yeah,
You
I
know, like
suppose
the
you're right.
main villain, right?
Yeah.
Until like basically when the pillars showed up, you were like, oh, okay, this is going to be about the dark entity.
Yeah,
Right? It was
yeah.
like about Animus, and then it quickly got hijacked by the dark entity and then melded together.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it was like, what's happening? Where are we going? Space, Nabaya. Oh, Will Lucius, and then that happened.
Yeah, and there was a lot of character moment. There was, like you said, there was a guest character arc. There was a lot of stuff happening with V and with
Right.
Savannah. And It was focused on a lot of guest characters and side characters.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to do a lot more with guest characters. Like I wanted it done right at the beginning. I wanted that art so I can fit. I want it to be as open as possible for the guest characters, and then let them have the freedom to do what they want, and then fit the story I wanted to tell in there, as opposed to like 15 episodes deep. You're a guest. Hey, they're in Union's Crest. I hope you really wanted to make like an alien who has no idea where Earth is.
Yeah.
Sorry, but anyway, let's throw into some questions.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go with let's do a fan one first.
Yeah, let's
Of
do it.
Of course.
So we have a really, really sweet email from a user known as Legendary Watermelon, who listens on
Yes.
Spotify.
Already love the name.
Yes. Yeah, we got your message and it was amazing. We love you. Thank you so much.
Never felt more validated in my life.
Yeah, right. So the question is for Cory, David, and Nicole. Throughout the campaign, I've noticed part of Colby's GM style is a large and varied supporting cast with a plethora of both allies and villains. What are your opinions on this heavy emphasis on character and how it changes the role-play experience compared to a more world-building and passive style?
Who wants to go first?
We'll go down the line.
Wow. Okay.
Or this way, either way.
Many of you do not know this because we've never put anything out, but I've been like creatively working with Colby for a million years.
Sorry, don't want to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
The ring keeps clinking against the glass,
Okay.
and it might make a lot of noise.
Anyway, I've known Colby as a writer and a creator forever, like longer than 10 years. And it's like all the stories and everything that we've done have always been very character-driven things. It's always dynamic, like bubbly, creative, like strong personality characters. And I would so much rather have that than just like drop the four of us in a room and say, like, make something happen. Like, I'd rather be guided almost, like, and it's not like in a heavy-handed kind of way, but just like you drop a character in and then it reacts and bounces off of us. And I like that so much more because I think it keeps us on task, like to accomplish what your goal is in trying to tell your story with the campaign. And I'd so much rather like have a character to kind of like pull us along through that instead of just like you drop us in and then hope that we happen to stumble across the one key specific little thing that will further the plot.
I see. Yeah.
You know,
Instead of like the word sandbox used a lot, you don't want to like sift through a sandbox trying to find like the toy, like, you know,
especially
something.
like now that we stream and like we treat this more like a show as opposed to just like a bunch of us hanging out around a table.
Yeah.
Like we have to kind of keep things moving and in a pace that will keep like viewers intrigued.
Yeah. In that sense,
You
I
know?
think linearity in this kind of thing can be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It keeps us on task. It gives us something. It gives us an NPC to be like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
As in, like, kind of give us a hint.
Right.
Something, you know.
It comes off to me more like an improv story more so than a role play.
Yeah.
To
Right.
me,
I feel
like
that.
this is an improv that we happen to have statistics for
Yeah.
instead of like a complete immersed role play. But I like it that way.
I definitely think that it makes a more well-rounded world, especially having played D&D with multiple DMs, and a lot of the times it's hard to create an NPC that is, well, I should say, let me rephrase this. It's hard to create so many NPCs in a world, and I think having that many like you said, was changing the way we were looking at things and making us prioritize things differently. And we've played, you know, a lot of good campaigns that were very story driven, and they had a lot of great NPCs. But, you know, usually in D&D you have the 1 or 2 NPCs that you go to that's like pretty consistent. Otherwise it's like villager or you know, or knight or fucking guard, whatever. And I think having the NPCs actually be characters, like Bola was originally an evil villain. He was
a side boss,
right? Exactly.
And then we turned him into a mainstay. He just showed up,
right? Exactly.
You know,
so
like...
it definitely gave us more like perspective. I think it wasn't just, oh, this is NPC, blank slate, nothing to do, who cares if they die, live, they mean nothing to us. So it gave more stakes, I think, when we were playing. And it made the world a lot more complex than and dynamic.
Building off of what you just said, I think it gives each character like value.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
you actually
like,
care about what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. And with like Colby's storytelling, like giving each character a unique personality and some kind of like dynamic thing about them, it always like it keeps them memorable. And I think like, I don't know if you have like a mental list of just like personalities to tap into and you come up with NPCs, but every one of them seems to be like unique in a way of, if we spent more time with them, you already have things to kind of like accentuate.
It's all accents.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah,
I'm going through a wall.
I've played a lot of D&D campaigns where it's you know, the story is told by what you find in a dungeon. Or it's told by just, if you make a perception check and pass, you might see writing on the wall that explains lore of what's going on. But
exposition.
In a lot of those D&D campaigns, it's your characters and then the environment.
Right.
And that's it.
Not to say that's necessarily a bad thing either, because there is value in exploring the environment. Which Colby also did a good job at. But the characters just bring so much more to the world than you would have gotten it by yourself.
Yeah. I compare it usually in my mind to like a normal D&D campaign like that is like playing a video game where you have your main character and then it's whatever you interact with. But the character-driven story that we do is more like a comic book or reading a book where there are multiple characters with personalities with their own stories that you care about, not just the main character. You know, there's like a lot. The world is lived in. That's how you make it feel.
Would you say that could possibly be a side effect of playing Mutants, where it's a game where there's no physical components?
It could be.
Where you're in D&D and you have like your like mapped out, and you have like your dungeon, and you have spaces and things, so you know your parameters.
Yeah.
You know?
That could have something to do with it.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I also feel like that almost is more surprising that there were more characters in Mutants and Masterminds, because D&D is very like, you have a ton of miniatures, you could fill up a whole like tavern or you know area of miniatures, and each one could be a character, whereas, you know, it's theater of the mind, and so it's basically up to us being like, oh, let's go to this pretend place and with pretend people. And
I feel like you can like be more like fast and loose about introducing NPCs when you need it.
Yes.
Instead of like, I didn't have a miniature there, so what the hell am I gonna do?
Exactly.
Like, you can just like have somebody show up.
Yes.
Plus, I have a huge thing about side characters gaining power.
Hell yeah.
Which Colby does very well. Like, anytime I like watch an anime or something, like if Krillin is a badass in DBZ, I'm like, yes, the side characters are useful. You know, like, and that's why I loved when we got character sheets for like Cedric and Vietnam. I was like, oh, cool, they're like people now.
There's something really cool about being given like stuff to play with, and like characters like that who are like really nice to give to you, or it's like Rise is a little more difficult to give to you guys because it's giving you a fourth character, like because he's a strong, you know, he's like power level 10, you know, or higher. Whereas like I can be like, oh, I can give him Cedric and Lauren and Xavier and Savannah, and they'll still have fun because they have like their gimmick, but they're not gonna break the game.
No, and their power level, like, it doesn't particularly matter as much.
No, not at all.
At all, when we're all kind of on like narrative mode.
You know, Cedric somehow being the most valuable one of them all, because he can give luck to other people.
Walmart brand domino.
Great value domino. Okay, let's turn into some questions of our own for another.
Sure.
Whoever wants to go.
I have a question that could be quick.
I skip it.
Okay.
Yeah, go
I
on.
have hella questions.
It's
You got way more
it's
than I thought.
mainly for Colby, but it's kind of for all of
Hell
us.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited. I have a lot of
Were
chat.
any comic book or video game or anime characters straight influences for your characters? And if so, who?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna ask about character inspiration too.
Yeah.
Well, I was
Alright.
gonna ask for inspiration as a whole.
I think
but
I've said
we'll
this
get to it.
before on stream. I watched Bleach a
Oh,
lot
fucking love
Yeah.
when I grew
Until
up,
it sucked.
Yep.
and oh yeah, and Kaito is just.
Oh,
I want to give a character a Zanpakuto,
Mhm.
and I just want the rule of cool to outweigh literally anything else. I don't
Yeah.
care if anything of Kaito doesn't make sense. I don't care if his tattoo turns into a fucking dragon.
Uh-huh.
That's cool to me, and I'm just gonna do it with them.
I feel like that's how I make all my characters. If I'm not like excited about him being cool, I don't
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bleach has really good side characters. Yeah,
It
I
does,
agree. I love Bleach. Like that
Me
was
too.
that was a huge influence for Kaito and stuff. As for other characters, in the beach episode, the interaction between Vomon and Hamadi Khan was directly inspired by the Full Metal Alchemist. Like, I like your muscles. That scene. But I'm sure I'll remember some you guys thought.
Can I ask specifics?
Yeah.
Where did the inspiration to turn Wilt Lucius into this crystal monster come from?
So,
Mm.
so obviously that has been a thing that I have known about since season 1. I have my notes here of Wilt Lucius's the visions that Adam was going to have ever since episode 1. I knew I wanted Wilt Lucius to be the final boss. I
Mhm.
knew that from day 1.
Nice.
It was just a matter of how do I get him there?
Mm.
What were the circumstances we left him off at in season 0? And how can I bring that back around when I was planning? And I was like, oh, the Centrum is this artifact that was never really explored, and its origin, you just know Nabayan's got it.
Yeah.
Like, where did it come from? Who made it? What powers does it have? And it's still a little vague on like what kind of powers it has and stuff like that. But
There's a lot of strength in that, though. Comics abuse
Sure,
that.
yeah.
Comics
Yeah.
abuse the fuck out of
Absolutely.
that. Like-
let's bring the Centrum back 4 times.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like think of like the Power Cosmic, the surfboard that the
Yeah.
Silver
Yeah,
Surfer
yeah,
has.
good
Like,
point.
it's never been explained.
Yeah,
it
like,
just
what does that even
happened.
mean?
Just
It
there.
happens
Yeah.
to just do the thing it needs to
Yeah.
do, like
The
situationally.
plot relevance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really satisfying in season 2 to get to that episode in the sewers, and I wrote a little thing for it and everything, and it was just, I remember before that night when we were in the basement and we're getting ready for it, I was like, I've been building up to this for over a year. Like,
Yeah.
I want this to happen so
Nice.
bad, and it did, and I think it worked out well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
like
definitely
it.
did. Oh, you guys, inspirations.
I was never huge. I mean, I love superheroes. Like, I always watched like the movies, which kind of was a detriment to me because they're not great, like X-Men movies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. I don't care what anybody says. Fuck
Um,
cinema.
Yeah.
But I honestly like never really based my character off of some like a superhero until it kind of turned out to be like Phoenix, and I was like, I'll lean into this.
Yeah. The Jean
Yeah,
Grey
Jean
aspect.
Grey is
Right,
absolutely a
right.
great character to lean on, though.
Right, because I was like, okay, well, because we've talked about this before. Jackie was originally illusion, like an illusionist,
Yes.
not mind control,
Mhm.
and so it was a turn. It was a switch.
Yeah. It worked out really well,
Mhm.
I think. For her, I think illusions aren't really her style,
Yeah.
Yeah,
personality-wise. She's more like, I'm gonna crush you.
Yeah. What about you?
I've said it before. Elias comes from the dark corners of all comics.
Spawn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
right.
he's most strongly Spawn and Ghost Rider.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Aesthetically, it definitely comes from more of a place of the Crow, like the Eric
Oh,
Draven
yeah,
Crow.
yeah.
Absolutely, like, but just more of like with like a punky kind of edge to him.
Mhm.
And I think a big thing that probably lent to the personality coming through with him being like a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I know we made references to comics like as if they existed in the story.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt that Elias somewhere in his mind was aware of these kinds of characters and
Yeah.
perhaps strived to be along like the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
line. Like, but
They were like literally his inspiration. as a
yeah,
character.
yeah.
It's like, you know, when he's like writing music for his band
Right.
back in the day, it was like all his music influence, or even real life, when you write music and stuff,
Yeah.
you're influenced even subconsciously by
right,
you like
right,
to
by
listen
what you
to.
like.
Right.
Yeah, and that character definitely came across. There was something really funny. I never realized it before until like way later on in us like setting everything up. There's Chaos Comics. There's a comic company that did like Lady Death and Vampirella and like the like skanky chicks and like that
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
barely clothed with
Right.
like
Yeah.
occult powers.
Their
I
art is
love that.
always
shit.
plain
Yeah, I
background.
love
yeah,
I love that
exactly.
trashy 90s comic shit. But they had like this like zombie character named Evil Ernie. If you Google Evil Ernie, he has Elias's exact outfit I pictured, where it's like the ripped jeans, the leather jacket with the fucking buttons in it. He's got like a
Nice.
ripped shitty t-shirt. He's got fucked up crazy like all over the place hair.
Nice.
I love
And-
Elias's attire.
Oh, yeah.
Like especially in the art
Oh
for
yeah.
him
Yeah.
out there, it
Yeah.
looks so
Yeah.
good.
It was very
Definitely
much
the most
like
unique.
Yeah.
street punk meets Superboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much the inspiration for that.
Yeah, when I was making
Flash.
when I was making Adam, yeah, I like you know, obviously I looked into speedsters and there aren't too many of them.
No,
And, like,
not really.
I didn't want to be just like a straight up goody two shoes like the Flash,
Hmm.
but I also didn't want to be a dick like Quicksilver.
So,
I was
it gives
like-
you a lot of room to play with
Yeah,
and
yeah.
build around though.
So I was like, who like is there a character kind of like Adam? And I think Kid Quick is the
Mm.
I'm not
closest
familiar with Kid
the
Quick.
closest like to Adam. Because Kid Quick's like, you know, kind of like a jokester,
Hmm.
but like can be serious at times,
Okay.
but like isn't like too good. You know, like Adam has killed people.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was okay.
We forget that a lot.
He killed a man.
Adam has really gone out of his way to kill people too.
Yeah.
Cam, their superhero name, vigilante name was gonna be with a K, Chaos Kid, but I think that already
Oh,
existed,
no.
so I couldn't do it.
Probably.
Because they were influenced by Elias Wrathchild.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Chaos
never
Kid.
got in. That's
Yeah.
something we never got into.
Well, that was a thing in season 2. I didn't because in season 1 you left off where you guys were filmed, and
Yeah.
that was teased a bunch in season 2 as well, with the Sadinsky and Jacob's
Mm,
whole arc
mhm.
of like maybe becoming famous.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was ever something you guys pursued or wanted to
Right.
pursue at
Right.
the time,
Mm.
so I didn't really do much.
Right.
with
We weren't
it.
ever really like superhero secret identity or
Yeah.
whatever. We
Yeah.
acknowledged. I think we might have acknowledged your identity, but I don't know if
Yeah.
we got into it. We had like superhero names for our characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We just never used them.
Yeah. Like I don't think it was ever spoken on stream until you just said it now, but Elias's like superhero name was supposed to be Wrathchild.
Yeah.
And
Mine
that came
is
from
definitely the best.
yeah, it came from an Iron Maiden song. Actually, when we first made these characters, I found like an Iron Maiden font generator and typed in Wrathchild and looked at it in like purple or green text or whatever, and I was just like, "This is the coolest."
is-
Absolutely, yes.
I love this. Why, what was yours?
Say
I
it.
like all-
My superhero name was, get ready for this, Miss Galaxy.
Wow.
I love it.
It's just your name.
Absolutely love
And
it.
then Adam, I liked Adams.
I liked
That's-
Adams a lot too.
yeah.
It was
Mine-
brilliant.
Mine was Steadfast.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
the
was
best
one of
one,
my
I think.
favorites.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never
Well, I
really
don't know.
used
You're,
it.
yeah, you guys got good ones.
I think I like Steadfast a
Mm.
little bit more because I like never heard that that
Right.
term is so like I like Wrathchild a lot, but I like Steadfast is really
Yeah.
cool. Plus you to like Steadfast stays with you until like you die, as
Mm.
opposed to Wrathchild where at one point you have to become Wrathman.
Right.
Yeah,
And what's funny is like it's interesting the way that the storyline worked out because I kind of loosely had this idea in my head because like the lyrics of Wrathchild, the Iron Maiden song, are like this dude who is spited by his father and he's looking for him to get revenge.
Oh.
So that's kind of part of why I wanted to take the name.
Damn.
Yeah,
Because I felt like we can kind of like
Nice.
build into
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and then Discord ends up showing up and he's a dick. So
Mm.
it's like perfect. It just kind of like self-fulfilling prophecy. It played into
Mm.
itself really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You want to ask one of your questions? Before you do, disclosure for anybody in chat. If you want to ask questions in chat, we'll answer them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
just
We get to
react to
them.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do whatever,
Nice
yeah, you
questions.
know. So just letting you know.
All right. I'll do a question for everyone. All right. Was there a part in the campaign or in the latest season, you could choose, that you wish you could either redo or that you would have done differently? And that's for you too, Colby.
Well, that's tough.
Things I wanted to change.
That
I wanted to add another scene, 1 or 2 more scenes, more of an arc between Barbosa and Cam together
to develop their
Correct.
relationship.
Nice.
It was a lot of tell, not show, unfortunately, between them. They had one scene together, and then it was the fight, and then it was like a post. I don't even think it was a pre-scene, or it might have. I think it was a pre-scene of them on docks together, and it just wasn't that. It wasn't what I wanted for them. There are a lot more things I would want to change, but that's like perfectionist stuff, you know.
I told Colby after the final session that I had an idea in my mind about how I wanted to end Wilt. And in season 0, when we originally beat him, I threw him into the Spearhead Tech building, from above. I had this idea that I wanted to throw him like into Earth and like through the atmosphere and have him burn up as like a last hit kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's like how I
And
wanted
he
to end
just
him.
disintegrated into nothing.
Yeah. But it didn't end up happening, but it was fine.
Yeah.
I like that like 3-part team attack that we did.
Oh, me too.
It
That was
felt
awesome.
like the right
that was
close.
great.
Sick.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah.
I don't really have many complaints, honestly, because I'm just kind of like reacting to all the situations that happened. So
I thought Elias got a lot of good stuff between Cam, V, and
Right.
Disco,
Yeah,
and Morgan.
yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing is like I'm like
Very well-rounded.
playing Elias, like I'm really fulfilled with everything that happened because I pretty much got all the powers I wanted. I had the interpersonal relationships that I wanted like to have as a backstory for the character. We kicked the main bad guy's ass. That's the whole goal. Like we did the thing. I don't know. I can't think of many things that Elias didn't do that I wish we got to.
From Logic saying it was probably the Misty getting lost part.
No.
yeah, but I do like where that went. Like I do like the direction Colby.
So
put that
let
in.
me tell you what happened with Misty.
Okay, yeah.
Let me give you the behind the scenes.
Tell me.
At the end of season 1, everybody saved, we did it. During season 1, I was picking the places, the Sanguine Citadel, the Sage area, all that. And then we started going through that, and then I realized I was like,
Oh shit, we forgot.
I was like, I didn't put Misty anywhere. Okay, I have some guy. Misty was gonna be where Lauren was in that situation, in a very similar predicament. But I didn't like the pacing of it. And then I was like, okay, I felt really guilty because I like Misty a lot, and I kept fucking her over because I forgot to do one very specific scene with Adam. Before you guys went into the pillars or into the converging expanse, there was supposed to be a scene where you fainted as a result of the visions.
Yeah.
And in the 1 minute you fainted, you were supposed to grab Misty, take her to Spearhead Tech headquarters, and lock her in a secret room that you failed to find in season 2.
What?
As because Will Lucius wanted leverage over you.
Oh.
Damn.
And I forgot to make you faint. So all of my plans were completely fucked, which screwed over everything with Misty. But as one door closes, another opens, and I was like, oh, hold on.
Now she's a transdimensional being.
Now she's something else, you know? So it worked
It
out.
helps that we
but-
all forgot to.
Yeah, I know.
Adam also was just like, we're all safe.
Yeah.
I think the most badass thing Adam ever did was grabbing what's-his-face's head and dragging him the entire length of the capital ship.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that was Will, right?
Yeah.
Or in season 0. I know you did that. Did you do it in season
I think
1 and 2?
I did, didn't I? Who was what's his face?
Come on, Initiative Wiki, man.
Really?
It's funny how like our viewers have a better memory of the shit that we
I know,
do
we're
than
all
us.
like, we're all thinking like,
So much has happened.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I also wanted to put Luther in more.
Oh yeah.
Luther became more of a mechanic than a character, because he has, that scene is really like when I gave you guys the cards and made you be like pretend to like be illusions, but you didn't know about it with Jackie and stuff. Like I thought that was really fun.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, it was a cool way to like just like change things up. But unfortunately, as a result, Luther just didn't really amount to much as a character, because his backstory is pretty interesting. He's Austrian. He's not German.
Yeah.
He was a politician, and he was a part of an assassination. Basically, he was about to be assassinated by political rivals. And while he was bleeding out, Dark Entity comes and is like, I'll hook you up with some immortality, some powers. And he's like, all right. But none of that was ever conveyed, unfortunately.
I think if there was like one thing I would want to know, like more so like a what if scenario than anything, is what would have happened if we actually gave the Sovereign Adam's blood.
Oh yeah.
So that would have affected season 2 or campaign 2.
I see.
Really?
Mercury would have lived, and campaign 2 would have been there would have been a lot of plot things with the Sovereign as a result.
See, you said no, and now Mercury's dead. This is your fault.
Yeah, now we don't have to fight the Sovereign again. So.
Yeah, but at the expense of our favorite little like
guy.
Synthezoid friend.
Yeah.
Our favorite
I
little Mercury.
don't know if the ship face drag actually happened on stream. I think it was only described during the season 2.
Oh,
I think it was
okay.
season 1 round.
I see.
It was. So it was
Alright.
Will Lucius on the Lance of the Nye, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Which is the original flagship above Nabaya when you first went. And I always think of that as like one of the like parts I want animated. Is him. It's just seeing
dragging.
and just this.
It gives me
destruction.
Invincible vibes.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Cory, your question?
Sure.
He's not allowed.
My phone's no.
Ask me why.
This one's more so about the making of all of this. Mostly for you guys, because I wasn't really involved in a lot of this. How did the transition to moving the set from one space to another impact the stream?
That's a great question.
That is.
Because a lot of people don't really know, because we kept it pretty quiet, but that month break we had was because he had to move.
Yeah.
Say it. Tell us how you feel.
Sucks. It still sucks.
Yeah.
Not that, there's nothing wrong with your place.
No.
It's just a matter of we had something established and
Right.
it was fine. It's nice you don't have to hear people flushing. above it
Yeah.
anymore.
I miss how dark the room was.
Yeah.
I really liked playing in a dark room. Like we're around like a million bright white walls right now, and it's so different.
There's just a
I'm
bit
so
more
out of my
space
element.
to like move around.
Yeah.
There was more space in the old place, and getting this set up the first time was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
We had to rearrange the entire room because we're in our office space.
Yeah.
So we have both me and David's computers going, which makes the room a million times hotter than it should be.
Yep.
And there's everyone's cramped in. Like if you could see the space between like us and the camera is
If you ever see me stream not on Wednesdays, you can see the lights.
Yeah.
Like the green screens on the sides.
Yeah, this is like a 12 by 10 room with a slanted ceiling.
Yeah,
this is
that
not
slanted ceiling is really what kills us.
Yeah, I hate that slanted ceiling.
If it wasn't slanted, I feel like we'd have.
Well, the worst part
time.
is not only is it slanted, but it's also like, what material is that?
Garbage.
It's like that popcorn ceiling spray.
Yeah.
You can't because we have a lot of soundproof foam. We can't put any on it because pins don't hold it well enough, and tape obviously doesn't work. Any type of tape.
We tried so much.
Even super glue.
We tried super glue.
If they just plastered it like normal, it'd be great.
I know, it's so stupid.
The wallpaper doesn't help either.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but the answer to the question is terrible.
Yeah. I think there was a second part.
It's also slightly farther than what, because Colby's place was a little more central to where we all go.
I got a half-hour drive here.
Yeah.
Now. So it's a little.
Another kind of B part to that is what were the challenges of moving everything here?
It wasn't
tech wise and get everything here and
so it sucks. I also
and...
record with Blade for Keep Tappin' That stuff with Dokkan Battle, very flashback and stuff. So every time I leave here, I have to bring stuff with me.
Yeah.
Like 2 of the stands and stuff like that. I have to make sure that there's proper equipment at both places whenever I travel between them. So,
Yeah.
it's just.
I found this to be like it's a shitty thing that we're going through, but I found it to be like a good opportunity because like you're like encouraging new streamers and stuff like that. Like this is a new situation of don't be afraid to move because we made it fucking work and we only lost 4 weeks.
You can make almost any space work, right? Like don't be afraid. The worst thing you can do is like not stream because you're afraid that your quality's going to be bad. Because guess what? It's going to be bad when you start out, and you only learn as you keep going, right? So just go, roll with it, deal with it, deal with it.
Look at our first episode of Initiative.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always the reference.
The glow up. That being said, the more support we get, the better the quality.
I mean, that's true.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
The dream is like getting an office space.
Oh,
yeah.
Dream.
Leasing an office space like
Yeah.
that. Oh, all right. I got a question.
Yes.
Shoot.
This is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the characters changed from the beginning and end of season 1, your characters, how did they change by the end of season 2 in your mind?
I also had a very similar question, which was
Fucking ring.
that one hurt my ear. That was like right.
Sorry, Spotify.
And,
sorry, Podbean.
Pretty much the same thing as like do you think your character developed over the course of the campaign and how?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Development.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think Adam learned to control his emotions a little better. Like, even if he gets down, just like, you do what you gotta do. You know, like, and he grew a lot from being on Nabaya more. Like, learning who he is, trying to act like who he's expected to be as an Abayan, who he's expected to be as like an Earthling, and who he is himself. You know, I think like with the speech that he gave, that was kind of like his defining moment.
I think that was like the climax of like that development.
Yeah.
I agree. That was a great speech.
Yeah.
I think definitely changing gears into for Jackie was basically like being completely rid of the entity and becoming symbiotic with Yaliru. Excuse me. I feel like she definitely had a more naive image of the world, and one thing that I really liked in the campaign with Jackie was Jackie and V's relationship, because it started off obviously not good, very bad, and part of that also was on purpose because V's obviously tough, like homeless, like there was like some actual problems that she had that, I mean, Jackie was, she lived in a area.
She lived comfortably.
It's two absolutely different worlds.
Exactly. And
this
so
is like the upper middle class kid meeting like the bottom of the barrel kid.
And so I think that was really interesting, and I think that also was like a fun dynamic too. And good for like development purposes, where she started kind of naive to like other people, more focused in her lane of I'm just gonna do this. Like I'm gonna make this deal with the dark entity
instead of like second guessing all the time.
Right. Like I'm just gonna do this because it suits me. I'm gonna do this because it'll benefit me. Sure. To being like, okay, like my actions have consequences, and everybody's so different. Like that, even evil people can change and turn into allies.
Yeah, Elias developed, I think, a very strong sense of responsibility towards the very end of everything, and I think Animus totally drove that. Sure. I think he needed a structure to kind of like find a way to adhere to like taking this new power and figuring out how exactly to utilize it in a way that he's not going to turn into a villain with it.
You might say that with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh my god.
But it absolutely does.
True believers.
It absolutely does, and Stanley would be proud. But
I am.
But yeah, I think that Animus kind of shaped him in a way that like it didn't like turn him into like a tool because it wasn't looking for somebody to do its bidding.
Yeah, it wasn't given like specific like do this.
Right, but I think maybe meeting other characters with Animus and abusing its power kind of steered him in the direction of, all right, these guys are not doing the right thing with it, so now's my opportunity to set things right in my life and beyond that. And then by the time we wrapped everything up with the character, it was a very last minute decision to think, you know what, he should join the Umber Collective, but it felt so right for the character because he's just a punk kid from New York with nothing.
Yeah.
He finished school and that was it. He's not going to college. He doesn't have the money. Like that's not happening. That's not a possibility for him. And then like with normal people, like with like real life people, when you have no options, it's like what, like trade school or military. When you're in the superhero world, it's like trade school or Space Force. So I picked Space Force. But that played into the sense of responsibility that came with having this greater power. And like by the end of beating Will, it was like, okay, like this was like the hardest fight we've ever had short of the Dark Entity. How much further can this go?
Sure.
And where would these powers best sit?
So if we had one word to define each character's theme, what would be like identity, responsibility, and confidence? Like confidence, not just confidence in I'm the best, but confidence of my decisions. This is what I want. This is who I am.
Right.
Like confidence
Self-assurance.
and self-assurance, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because I even like as you played her, you found yourself questioning like, am I gonna do this? I don't know if I should do this. I should do this, and then you just do it.
Right.
So I don't know if that, there's plenty of, you can't boil
Words.
down characters to one word.
No,
obviously.
but that's definitely a good start for them all, though.
Question from chat, specifically Logic.
Yes.
What do you have in mind next? More M&M or moving on to other things?
Should we?
No.
Nope.
More M&M.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. We're not done here.
Yeah, we're not done with M&M. I love the system too much.
This game is wonderful.
Yeah.
It is.
Are there awesome games? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to do like some like Call of Cthulhu like one shots or like
that'd be cool.
quick stuff. Like,
And
that
like
would
how
be
we did
fun.
Kids on Bikes and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I think our next season is going to push the limits of what we can get away with in Mutants and Masterminds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And possibly stream.
And I think
content-wise.
it's funny. I think it's funny how when we like stream and stuff, we look a lot more like not experts, but we look like we not
experts.
No, I'm trying to. I feel like.
Distinct.
Are you saying we don't know what we're doing, but we look like it?
Yes. I was saying
because that's so fucking true, dude.
Because this is like our first Mutants and Masterminds campaign, like period. We did not play Mutants and Masterminds before this, and so it's funny getting questions being like, "How is this?" and like this. How does like Mutants compare to this? And then we're like, "Oh, it's like da 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 da." But this is only like dipped a toe in.
Well, Logic says we're the only ones, so.
There's one
I know there are
more.
others.
It's Mass. Oh, I feel really bad. They followed us and stuff.
Nice.
Give me 1 minute.
There are a handful. They do not
there
get
are a
enough
couple.
attention. There's a handful if you look on here on Twitch, and if you look at the Mutants Mastermind subreddit, you'll find a ton.
Yeah.
Like there are some people doing some really cool shit.
A lot of them are only podcast form.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they're not actual play.
Yeah.
But there are some.
Yeah.
But no, I found that one that I linked to you
That was
guys
it.
a couple, maybe like a week or two ago. There's some dude after every fucking week, he's making like a front page of a newspaper and writing like articles for
That's
each like little
awesome
thing that's
stuff.
happening in his world, and
That's
he's like
awesome.
got art for it that like
That's
is in place of
amazing.
photos.
That's
It's
the kind
absolutely
of things we
amazing.
could do if we got the
If we had the funding, or if one of
funds.
us could fucking draw
If you want to see this, then
what was it? Mass and Mayhem.
Masks and Mayhem.
Mass and Mayhem.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, go follow them as well.
But
support the game.
I definitely feel like without saying too much about it, the next campaign I think is gonna be not better, but I think we are going to go in it more experienced and definitely be better with the role playing and really. I mean, because we all talk about it all the time, how our characters are essentially us.
Self-inserts.
Yeah, self-inserts.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be exciting with the next one. And
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to be me again. all 200 personalities that I have. I have more questions, but who wants to go next?
I have a question for you that I know you kind of hinted at.
Okay.
Do you have any unused villain concepts that you don't plan on using in the future?
Thank you for reminding me. So, let me tell you. I had, for season 2, there was supposed to be a whole different arc. Well, not too different. So, the villain I had in mind, And Rook Nova kind of took over this, this whole like adventure into space. But to bring Nabaya back in, essentially what was going to happen was that the material parallax fucks up the universe in a very
Yeah, sorry.
in a very metaphysical way. And as a result, far off in the galaxy, there was a prison where, like a pocket dimension, where individuals were thrown into. And these sets of individuals were a group of Nabayans, Nabayan extremists, who were so stuck in the old ways that they became conquerors in of themselves, separate of Nabaya, but preach Nabayan rule and doctrine. And they were going to escape because the material parallax weakened the barriers of this pocket dimension. They would have broke through. They would have went to Nabaya, almost destroyed it, and then went, all right, where's your king? Oh, we have a queen. I don't give a shit about the queen. Where's your king? And then they would have went for Adam.
Interesting.
So
That's fucking
the problem was,
gnarly.
as I was making it, it's very, what's his name? Zod?
Okay, yeah.
It was super, like, Superman-y.
Yeah.
Especially as I was like making them, I was with Will, who plays Evan. And I'm like talking through it, and as I'm saying it to him, I'm like, oh, hold on. This is just like them. Oh,
yeah, like
fuck.
when you have like an idea and you think it's so fucking cool and you think it's so original, and then you start telling someone and you have this like realization.
Yeah, and you feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
You feel like a jackass.
What I wanted to ask you, it just reminded me, was I felt this all along. Were the Nabayans at all inspired by the Yuzan Vong from Star Wars Expanded Universe?
They weren't, honestly.
I'm
it's funny you say that though.
Because I always got that vibe.
Dude, when I think the Yuzan, they're more like aliens, like super just out of the realm of conception. They're almost like Eldritch to me.
Yeah, they're like Nosferatu with fucking armor.
But the
and
Nabayans
hated everything.
The Nabayans are way more. They're just like they're like they're more Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah,
than anything else. So, but good question.
We got questions in chat.
Oh, we
yes.
do. Go ahead. What do we got?
They're good questions.
Oh, I saved up 20k channel points.
Logic wants to cash in.
We do need to come up with a dump for channel points.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
Question: Are you that was by Logic. Question by Taylor over here. Are you planning other people guest permanent players from the next project? No permanent players, unfortunately. I did say I would love to have a fourth player. The problem is pretty much 100% logistics. It's a matter of like space is really hard, scheduling is already hard. Adding a fifth person into the team and getting like audio stuff right for that, and it's just something I don't feel confident tackling right now.
Putting a fifth person in this room right now would probably require another camera and another mic.
Absolutely.
The unfortunate truth right now is how we're sitting right now. If there was a fifth person next to us, we literally couldn't fit them.
Yeah.
We're like at the edges of.
I've got like a freaking 2 feet, like 2 to 3 feet this way.
So planning for permanent characters, no, at the moment. Guest characters, yeah. I mean, I definitely still I'd want to do more guests in some way. Yeah. Logic, I do want to have you as a guest. I really do.
Yeah. We can always camp
and
people
one day
in.
it will happen.
Yeah.
In some way. It's just really tough, especially when we had to move. We had such a good system going in the first place, which is why we had guests.
Yeah.
It was possible to bring them on, and then this happened, and it totally fucked everything up. It's like starting back from -1 space, right? And relearning.
Do not collect $200.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Okay. Sorry. I thought I had more villain stuff. I don't have anything written down.
I have a question just for anyone who's listening, and you can submit the answer however you want, however you're listening. But is there a side character that you wish you saw more of? That you wish you saw their story progressed more, or just their powers explored more, or just any side character or any villain that you wish you saw more of?
I have one. I have an answer to that. Delilah. That scene that Adam and Delilah had, like, won me over, like, where she just kind of just, like, laid out the facts of life to him.
Yeah.
Like, that was just beautiful, and just the way that everything kind of played out that night, even down to the music, like, we've goofed on that before. But, like, honestly, like, that's probably one of my favorite moments of the campaign, where just the whole thing just felt like the most human.
Season 1, right?
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Delilah's nice.
I would love to know about, like, her life and where her source of power came from, and I want to know more about Delilah. Simple as that.
Yeah, bro.
Sorry. I definitely like the Sovereign and Rise combo. And I would definitely be interested to get the backstory on that.
They're the prequel.
Right.
They're the spin-off show that happens when Initiative takes off, and ultimately that show, like, gets into development hell and is never made. You know what I
I feel like that's like if like we had like sub-series shows, like that's the low-key show.
It's like a buddy cop show.
Their backstory, it's like decently developed in my mind of where the Sovereign and Rise's relationship comes from, and I really like them. Like their whole relationship is based on this like mutual respect for one another in a lot of different ways, where they both went down similar paths in life, but circumstances of perception just completely destroyed the Sovereign, whereas Rise rose above it, you know?
Logic had a good answer for that. He said not necessarily more of them, but he definitely wants to know more about the entirety of the Umbra Collective, like their powers and such. You're in luck, buddy.
Okay, Bola. He's Australian. His power, Bola.
Hence the name.
Time to go through every single.
His entire character sheet can be seen in the end at the back of the Mutants and Masterminds Deluxe Player's Handbook. His stat is literally Bola. He was the first character I used, and I used that stat block because I didn't know how to make characters.
He was not supposed to last this long.
Discord, powers being a badass. He's a weapon master and loves riding bikes and convertibles. And is the father of Elias.
I feel like that was an afterthought. The fathering Elias part.
Yeah, you know, there's some things he prioritizes more.
Yeah, like convertibles and motorcycles.
I mean,
I feel like everyone has an uncle that's exactly like that.
Vilmander and Bjork, I love them. Not a lot of backstory with them. He is just this big, lovable oaf of a man who loves fighting, just loves wrestling. He's a Viking, right? He loves traditional Viking stuff, and he has Bjork, his sheepdog, who has a robot arm that injects you with basically a stim pack.
Healing goo.
Yeah.
Gamer goo.
Rachel. Okay, I like Rachel. So, Rachel was created. What? Do you wanna?
Can I ask you something real quick about Rachel?
Yeah.
Was she inspired by Rachel Rosen in Blade Runner?
No, I made her before I saw Blade Runner.
Really? Because the android chick that Harrison Ford seems to love / force himself on.
Yeah,
is
weird scene.
An android.
Does not age well.
Yeah, no, it definitely did not.
So, Rachel was built by Wilt Lucius and given to the Umbra Collective in a joint operative. So early in season 1, Big Shot mentions that they worked with Wilt Lucius, and Wilt Lucius wasn't a part of the Umbra Collective, but was more like a benefactor. Is that the right term? Benefactor. Thank you. Of the Umbra Collective, until his worldviews got a little too skewed for Umbra.
Interesting.
And so Wilt Lucius is a robotics expert essentially,
right?
And Big Shot is an alchemist. If that went through, he's an alchemist. That's his power set.
I didn't think that.
And as a result, they work together. So the you guys in season 1 went to the moon and saw what you guys thought was a cloning lab. It was called the H lab. It was a homunculi lab. All the masked people you see, those creepy dudes who gave you the prima materia back on Coney Island, those are homunculi. Those are artificial beings created by Big Shot to make his workforce. Hence why they're so efficient.
So it really is kind of Blade Runner.
I guess so.
In a way, like that's the Tyrell Corp.
Yeah,
where they
see
make
Blade
the
Runner
androids.
until after this. if the first time you met him,
still never
he was
seen
in
it.
front of a bookcase, and he offered to let you look at a book. But if you did, you would essentially die in the campaign. That is a real thing in like alchemic lore, where the book has every answer to every question, but if you look at it, you don't see.
That's very
so
Lovecraftian.
we had that.
Yeah.
His body is he's not a robot. He is just he has taken the elixir of life so many times that has degraded a lot of his personality.
Okay.
He's lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. He and Judge Brem. So in season 1, there were a lot of flashbacks between because Animus and Umber Collective don't like each other.
Mhm.
And there was a flashback explaining that in the library of Animus, where both characters saw each other and had a meeting, and they talked to one another. Big Shot doesn't care if you're mortal. He only cares if you're a threat to humanity. Judge Sayre started with his power to be able to imbue the power of Animus into people and objects, like bits of it. Brem, yeah.
You said Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Brem, thank you.
I was like, no, I hate that chick.
Brem Senior. His he was becoming a threat because he was just starting these temples, these schools, whatever you want to call it, of Animus users, and Big Shot was like, no, and every couple of decades, Animus gets wiped out on Earth again and again and again by the Umbra Collective.
Damn.
Because Big Shot viewed him as a threat.
Interesting.
Yep. So they actually had a whole, that's why Umbra Collective was so in your business in season 1,
right?
Because they're just like, okay, why don't we just use him to get the judge and just kill him once and for all,
right?
Kind of thing. And then it evolved from that. But
oh my god. Sorry, just we've been talking about what the next one's gonna be, and that's fucking interesting.
Yeah.
That brings me like outside of things as like a person, not a character, into so much more understanding of the world that's happening around our characters.
So like if you look back on the whole campaign, I try and put stuff like that in there early, and I like to have interactions and conversations between characters as they talk, and you probably have no idea what they're talking about, unless you're like really, really paying attention. Because if you saw that scene in season 1 and that was all that was on your mind there, you could probably say like, oh, that's Big Shot. Oh, that's Judge Brem Sr. Although I don't think you did meet Big Shot by then. So yeah, so you might have been able to pick that together.
That's what I mean when I said that the world feels very lived in.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it, because no matter what we're doing, these characters have something going on.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if we interact with it, it's still going to happen.
I think that stems a lot from the fact that I don't like murder hobos, and I think one of the best ways to stop murder hoboing is make your characters real. It's really easy to kill Guard 2.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, Guard 2, who cares about Guard 2? Right. Because he's not a human being. He's just
V gives a great shit about Guard 2, and she made that abundantly clear after Elias killed him.
Yeah, exactly. So Guard 2 suddenly turned out to be V's brother.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I didn't know that, but then I paid for it for the rest of the campaign.
Speaking of, a question I had was, what do you consider to be your character's defining moment or shining moment, and what was your character's lowest moment?
Ooh, fuck.
That is rough.
Elias's defining moment was when he was in the subway side room in the dark with Animus. The first time Animus like fully presented itself to him and was like, look, dude, you have a fucking responsibility. Again, that word. But like it came out to him and it was like, you've taken this power that we've given you and you've abused it, and if you do so again, you will pay dearly for it. I think that really like flipped his lid.
Okay.
And that definitely changed the way that I approached playing the character from that point forward.
Yeah.
That's when you started becoming the judge.
Yes!
What about your lowest? Some characters. Elias's lowest moment.
Shit. I'd have to stew on that one for a little bit, I think.
Adam,
like I said before, Adam's highest moment was definitely the speech. Because he's always struggled with how can I protect my friends? Or I can't protect them the way I want to. And then he came to the realization that with the power of Nabaya, he can protect everyone. He can protect like galaxies of people with their flagships.
Yeah.
Like, here, take our power and use it as your own kind of thing. And with that speech, he really came into his own. but his lowest moment was definitely when he had that conversation with Delilah.
Yeah.
When he ran to Florida and was powerless because he was so sad he didn't think he could do anything.
Right.
And Delilah kind of pulled him back up.
Right.
I think
I forgot to say Delilah's powers.
Yeah.
Nanomachines.
Yeah.
Nanomachine son.
Nanomachine son.
Yeah.
She has a well-detailed history in being a revolutionary, and she has nanomachines that keep her alive built with the help of Wilt Lucius and.
Jeez.
That's amazing. So is she like well beyond like normal human age at this point, or
Not well. It's like her body is still degrading to effect, but the effects of that body or of aging aren't affecting her as much.
Yeah.
So she could probably live another like extra 30, 50 years
that's cool.
than a human being.
I think the lowest, like, given a like have a couple seconds to consider it, the two lowest points for Elias are either when the little girl died when we were fighting Barbosa. That fucking sucked.
That was rough.
Yeah, I think that was like an extreme low for the whole party.
Yeah,
that was...
Maydower.
Yeah, we failed. Like flat out, like that's
we did not
failed.
succeed. Like,
That was bad. And then I think a lot of lows for Elias were disappointing and upsetting his mother by trying to be a hero. Like doing this thing that he knows is going to be part of this greater good at the expense of his family. It comes with the fucking responsibility thing. It's a very Peter Parker scenario for him to try to save the world, but ruin his relationships at the same time. You gotta pick like the needs of the few or the many.
I'm genuinely shocked you two didn't say the lowest points are when you switch bodies.
Nah, that wasn't that ain't no
funny.
thing.
That was really funny.
What about you, Jackie? Miss Galaxy.
I honestly think that her most defining and lowest moment was defeating the entity. Because I mean, finally, she's finally free from something that has had control over her for years and
4 or
years
5
and years,
years.
right?
Yeah.
And but at the same time, the damage it caused and the
People that were hurt.
right,
Ugh.
the hell that went through you with the pillars and
Mhm.
and everything, it's like basically boils down to I made a mistake and it costed dearly, but I fixed it now.
I mean, it like fucked up the universe.
Literally,
and other
yeah.
universes as a result. I have a question pertaining to that, but I want to do the chat question first by Logic. Who wants to start beef? With the campaign being done, what's the thing you hated about your character and the others? You can interpret that however you want.
Wait.
Wow, wait.
Wait,
With the
hated
campaign
about-
being done,
About
what is
your
the thing
character
you hated
and
about
the
your
others.
character and the wow.
What are things that maybe
Like-
frustrated you about other characters or actions? And your own.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Fucking
Let's
you
give
two.
her 10 minutes
Oh
to bitch.
my god.
Mm,
Every time I miss a fucking episode, I swear to god.
It's true.
Just
It's
it's
true.
like I mean, I've already it's not a real beef, but it's just funny because every single time I would leave or I would be sick or I wouldn't be there, and them just Elias and Adam always somehow
It really culminated in the Rook Nova episode.
Oh my god! I got a text from Colby saying, I don't know why they did this. I don't know why they did that. And I was like, immediately, like, what the
There's
fuck
like,
did they
if
do?
you guys look on page 2 of your character sheets, there's a wonderful skill called Insight.
Yeah. I think I have 0 insight. Or maybe I have 1.
So-
you played that well.
Dude, so-
and I feel like Elias is very like coercive in the sense of like anytime or well rather maybe not coercive but definitely influenced by other people.
Mhm. There was definitely a
There was-
point where in the campaign where I shifted from that decision I made was really dumb to like maybe I should make Adam make dumb decisions.
Yeah, and we would talk about that like
what
in
do you
character
do?
and out of where like we'd be like in the middle of a fight and he'd be like, I have a crazy idea, and I'd be like, tell me more.
Yeah, oh my god. That was it was the best and worst thing that I had to deal with because like sometimes it would end up like funny like with the river thing and you got the cat sticks and that was a good episode.
Yeah.
But then when when you guys are fucking fighting one of like the big baddies, and I come back and you're like, yeah, we just walked out the front door and got captured. I was like, why?
Yes.
Why?
The Palace of Shakar. I can't believe
there was
you
no
guys.
logic. Like, I swear to God, it's literally like when your friends get together and the brain cells just decrease. That's what happened, and I had to come in and rectify the situation.
The worst part is you went through all the trouble.
Oh my God.
Of infiltrating, of being sneaky,
I
and at the
can't.
very end you were like, fuck you.
If I may justify their
Literally.
decisions,
No, you may not.
I think it comes from a place of Elias and Adam taking care of what they need to do in there, and then looking at that front door going, we got this.
Yeah, that's exactly
And then
right.
going for it.
That's
And then it
problem.
plays the Always Sunny, just like the gang didn't get this.
The game dies.
The gang falls into
Oh
the
my
sewers.
gosh. Yeah,
Uh,
that was definitely
Anyone else
fun
for
to come back.
frustration?
I mean, I can always say I was frustrated that my character couldn't swim or fly.
Yeah, that must have been really frustrating.
It
Not
was.
being able to fly in a
That-
game it's about superheroes
Yeah.
must
That
suck
leap helped
ass.
The leap did help.
Yeah.
Saved you.
I don't know. I mean, there's not too much I can really be upset about.
I think our characters' dynamic worked really well together.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I could say that frustrated me the slightest bit about both of your characters is that both of you hit the will defense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
like whenever there was an enemy that we need to hit parry or
It was like, nope.
Yeah, dude,
Dodge,
robots
like-
we were
Oh
screwed.
yeah, we
couldn't
were like,
take
good
robots.
luck, Adam.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's all you,
I,
homie.
I like that personally because it had to force you to like, hey, you gotta try other stuff.
True,
You have
yeah.
to like use the
Mhm.
environment, use anything else. Like
Yeah.
tools are there, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
good thing
that is the
Elias
thing.
had brass knuckles on his jacket.
Yep.
The problem with will stuff too is that no matter how many wounds you have, your will is always the same.
Sure.
So like you could be toughness 15 and you have 10 and will 15, but if you have 10 wounds, that will save is still 15.
Yeah.
It does not decrease. So
Right.
but it's checks and balances with it. It's cool.
Yeah.
But so my question before it passes here, because Jackie talked about this is for Nicole and Cory.
Yes.
At the end of season 1 when the Dark Entity was destroyed. So Jackie's main story was essentially complete after the battle with the Dark Entity. Without that central villain, what motivated Jackie throughout season 2? Similar to that, Animus played a backseat role in season 2. What motivated Elias? So, a question of motivation.
I mean, there's so much that was built up even while we were going through the Dark Entity arc, that made it a lot easier to stay motivated. And part of that was the friendship between Elias and Adam, that it didn't matter that it was all Jackie's fault and they were all like in the converging expanse because of her, but the fact that they all stuck together and they were all working towards one goal. And it wasn't just we have to get rid of this because Jackie. It's like, we have to get rid of this because it benefits the entirety of everybody.
Yeah.
And part of that stuck with, part of it was the loyalty to her friends, to Adam and Elias, who had both been there, gone through everything to help and had stuck by her. That loyalty stays when going to Nabaya, even if she didn't agree with the choices, it was okay, but I'm gonna stick with you because you're my friend, and also because there are more important things like lives at stake than just yourself.
Two things come to mind when like this question arises, and one thing that pops up for sure is it's the loyalty thing for sure. But the two scenarios that come to mind were Elias and Jackie in the room on the Sovereign's airship when we were in the Converging Expanse when I promised to kill you if things went too shitty.
Yes.
Like that was a really heavy moment between the two characters where it was like, we have to stick together, but this thing is greater than both of us. So like,
and it felt
Plan D, if things went down, I got your back in the worst way possible.
Right. And I think part of it that really strengthened it, the relationship between Elias and Jackie, was that mutual understanding of what this was, what the entity was, and what the Converging Expanse was, because it wasn't just one villain, you know, it wasn't like Wilt or like the Centrum where it's like, okay, this is 100% like your villain, this is 100%. It was like, this place is just not good for anybody, and it was more of like a general, just generally a bad thing. That
I think too, like in a loose way, like Elias and Jackie are kind of two sides of the same coin,
right?
Whereas like Jackie was a lot more defensive and a more insightful character, and Elias was just, I've got this power and the only thing I know how to do is destroy with it, so I have to do what I can to serve the greater purpose.
And it was also similar to how the Dark Entity bestowed the power onto me as Animus did to you.
Yeah.
Because it's almost the same, like you said, two sides of the same coin.
Right. It's very much like, to throw a Marvel reference in there, we try to avoid, but they're always there, is like Jackie is the Phoenix, whereas Elias is more like the like Spirit of Vengeance, like from Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing where it's just like, it's this power that kind of more chose you than you chose it.
Right.
Sort of.
Right.
The other moment that I mentioned earlier that comes to mind with the loyalty thing is once we finally like got back to Earth and settled things down, when Adam came to Elias and was like, look dude, like if I like go to Nabaya, like are you down? Elias couldn't say no to that at that point. Like with everything we had all gone through, like there was nothing at that point that Elias probably wouldn't follow the rest of the group through.
Right.
Like we'd been through so much at that point, like that was like his sense of purpose by then.
And that's kind of how Adam felt in season 1. And you know, it was mostly like the Nabaya story was kind of on the back burner while we did like the Dark Entity and Animus. And he was like of course I'm gonna help you guys out because we've been through so much and because this affects the whole world.
Yeah. Right. I think a big thing that gets played into that too is not to make it cheese, but definitely the friendship of the characters and the characters being as young as they are. Like absolutely. They didn't have anybody else that they could identify with their powers. Right. It's not like other superheroes were a thing in that universe that were like an open public thing where they had somebody to look up to or whatever. They had nothing. They had books and cartoons, and then suddenly they're thrust into that. You know, like, and then everybody else in the world that they discover that has powers seems to hate them for some reason and want them dead. So we had to stick together. We were victims of circumstance.
I think that also shows how all of our characters really grew onto each other, because in the beginning, season 0, there was no real connection between the three of them. I mean, all of them were so different. I mean, they were all, even if you just think about teenagers or high school, they're all in different like classes.
Yeah, different cliques. There's a total. This is like the representative of each clique.
Right.
The Breakfast Club of superheroes.
Pretty much. Absolutely. That's absolutely what this is.
And then the strength of that just multiplied and became something really good.
Yeah.
Next.
Logic.
Okay.
Logic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Colby, have you invested in Hero Labs yet? If not, why do you hate yourself? So Hero Labs is good for building characters and stuff, but it's not as portable as I want it to be. I know I could like put it on my phone and stuff, but I have a system. I make all my character stats my own way with my own little layout, on paper. In pen, and that's how I like it, because I like carrying these notebooks around and doing that stuff.
You have a sense of pride when you fill the notebook, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're always like, I filled this shit. You're so proud.
There's only 2 empty pages, 2 or 3 empty pages on season 2 notebook.
Nice.
So that's, boom, season 1, season 2.
Right. The master books.
Yes.
Can I ask you something about those books while you have them open?
Yeah.
I
or
also have
available.
a question next.
Did you have plans prepared in case any or all of the player characters died in the final fight?
In the final fight?
Yeah. Or in general? Did you have plans in place in case anybody died?
Yeah, I mean, I have ideas for if you failed in the final fight, obviously it would have had significant consequences on just second campaign, you know, in terms of essentially what the second campaign would have been is it would have been a freedom fighter story.
Yeah, I was pretty prepared to have like a resistance fighter character.
Or you would make characters in Union's Crest.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which would open it up to where you like alien stuff could become a lot more open to you guys. Not that I would say
I feel like that's where the
obviously.
initiative MMO would begin.
yeah, right. In the Prismatic Coalition.
Yes.
But it would have been more, the Union's Trust would have been much more central to Campaign 2 as a setting, which would have been cool. I wouldn't have mind that. And then as far as like what would happen to each individual character, like the support cast and stuff, no, I don't have that written down.
Yeah, I mostly meant player characters. Like, did you have like plans in case like if say like Elias died but Jackie and Adam lived, or that kind of thing? Like specific, like if player characters died, did you have plans prepared for those?
Just interactions between specific characters, like for like Morgan, Discord, Volmon, Mira, Lauren, Barry. Just little stuff like that of like how would these characters have reacted if they're, you know, V, Cam, if whoever they're tethered with
is
passed
their
away.
representative.
Yeah. Their rep.
Similarly, were there any plans that you had to toss out, either because we messed up or because it just wasn't viable in the campaign?
I mean, I'm gonna say yes. I just had to remember which ones specifically I had to put in the can. I know there are
any like settings that we like, any places we were supposed to go to that we didn't, anything that we.
God, I don't know why I'm blanking out because yes, absolutely. There were definitely some places I was like, one thing I had a whole section of if you went back to Ohio and actually took responsibility for May Dower's death and like a scene with her family, but you guys were like, you can't see me. I'm
like
out,
I said,
guys.
that was the lowest point.
Yeah,
Man.
that
We're not spending any time there.
you wanted nothing to do with
No.
that. So that was something.
They can come find us.
And I had stuff planned if you decided to pursue the gemstones further, because that was a whole central theme in campaign. So at the end of season 1, the Dark Entity turned into this gem, Shattered.
Yeah.
And then as the guest character arcs proceeded, you started seeing more of these gems playing a pivotal role. And then Rook Nova's ship had the gem. Everything started to become more about these crystals. And as you get away from Earth, they become more pivotal to how society functions in other places. So if you guys decide to explore that earlier, that would have yielded different results. And also, the pillars. I think I said this in the post season 1 show. The pillars were never meant to happen when they were supposed to. That happened because Jackie died.
Oh, right.
Which triggered her Dark Entity powers, her complication there, and that started that whole arc. That would have been more Animus stuff if that didn't happen.
Thanks.
Which ended up happening anyway, you know, because of the converging expands.
Listen, that fashion show was 10 out of 10 though.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You guys, you guys surprise me like all the time too with your decisions, whether it be a silly fight, like something silly in a fight,
walk out the front
or
door of
or I'm gonna go into the Amble Belt and talk to, hey, I think I want to go talk to X. You're like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that to happen.
Come to think of it, the scene where Jackie went to the Amble Belt in the second to last episode and spoke with the Jewel Cutter was probably another one of my favorite moments of like the whole series.
That was a great moment. So 100% improv.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting you to go there. I should have planned for it, but I didn't.
That was a great way to send off that character too, because
Right.
that was the last time we saw him in this campaign.
Right.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, do you think that was the moment that surprised you the most out of both seasons, or was there one moment where like it really sticks with you? Like I had no idea.
Honestly, I really think it is the pillars that was like the culmination of, because that set off. I mean, it did so much, right? It resulted in what it made me do was like, okay, I always had these vague ideas not written down of what the pillars were and like the Dark Entity, and then it forced me to be like, all right, let's get these characters finished. I want them like statted out, or at least, you know, conceptually finished, so where you could interact with them. I want this place. What is this place? What is Florida? Right?
Yeah.
Let's finally get down. I want it all written.
Yeah.
What Florida is, the Converging Expanse. So that was definitely like the biggest like GM oh fuck moment for me.
While we're on this, I know we kind of touched upon like things that we possibly wish we could have done with our characters. Something just kind of came to me with that was with the pillars, because it's been so long I didn't even think of that.
Sure.
I would have loved to go to the sites of all the pillars.
Yeah.
Like to go see like Cairo where that one hit.
I was wondering when I was going through, I was like, okay, do I want to make this a globe-trotting adventure, going to each place around the world and like having to fight these people or whatever? That's a thing. Also, one thing, I don't know the names of the group. I don't know if I call them shadows, tethers, agents of the dark entity. I don't care. I'm gonna switch between all of them. I usually go like shadows or something of the dark entity. That's what the name of the 6 individuals are.
It was always tethers.
Tethers. I like tethers.
Tethers
too,
was
yeah.
our like keyword.
So it would have been a globe-trotting adventure or a trip to the Converging Expanse. And honestly, to me, I like the idea of the Converging Expanse more because it also meant I had to do less research on these actual places. But also, I mean, you went to California, Adam did.
Yeah.
And then you got to see Cam briefly.
Right.
We
saw that
in a camera.
Right.
Cam,
and which I thought was interesting. If you went to Egypt, the pillar was in a tomb.
Oh,
Interesting.
Why didn't we go?
I know, yeah.
In Austria, essentially it would have just happened inside the the Capitol building. And then in Brazil, it was off the coast in the ocean.
Yep. You can see where each character was associated with
Right.
each one.
And Kaito, it was at the Tokyo
Skytree.
Skytree.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I definitely,
Sky Tower.
while you were, like you said, something that we wish we had done.
Yeah.
I definitely thought about it like that second to last episode, and I was like, oh shoot, I almost wish that just like how Cam still kind of has a little bit of her powers like from the dark entity, I kind of wish I kept a little bit so that I can like mix that Yuliru and
that would have been cool.
Yeah, the Yuliru, like the white and black, like the yin and yang kind of like coming together, like would have
like
been
celestial mix. Of
energy.
energy.
Looking back, that I was just like, oh, what a missed opportunity.
Light and dark.
Yeah.
That could have been your die move.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Speaking of places that we've been, what was your favorite setting, either to fight in or to explore or just because you like?
I demand action.
Favorite setting, huh? You know, I don't know why it stuck with me so much, but the area in the Converging Expanse that was like down the waterfall.
Trench of Strife.
Yeah, that I always think of that when I think of cool environments that we fought in.
Yeah.
I do love that place in particular, just as a shanty town, or rather, not a shanty. I think it's a shanty town. Basically, this place of just sheet metal, just weird at the bottom of a trench.
Right.
Yeah, I just imagine like a big crater and just the water filling it from every direction. Yeah. It's so cool.
It was season 1, but the spot in the Converging Expanse where we went down that like stairway into that labyrinth, the library kind of thing. Yeah, that was a really cool place.
That
It was just really unique.
In the Library of Animus.
Yes. Yep.
There was a lot of good environments in the Converging Expanse that were just extreme. I think the Converging Expanse as a whole was just very well done, especially making everything so unique to its area, almost like you could go across town and be a completely different place. And I think that was something very endearing to exploring it. It made you want to explore more. You're like, okay, I know we can't do too much, but I definitely want to do this and this and
all of the different biomes.
Right,
there,
yeah,
and
that's
how
what I was just
drastically
thinking.
different. I mean, the whole origin of the place is the Converging Expanse is whenever change is made in our world, like transition from like a gas to a liquid, or even conceptually, when you think of one thought and it turns into another thought, something is left behind, and takes shape in of itself in this dimension, the conversion expands. So it's a realm of change.
So it's Chalk Zone.
Well, I guess. I mean, Chalk Zone's like you like. It's a, yeah, you're right.
You make
it's
a thing,
chalk.
you erase it, and it goes away.
Oh, is that how that works?
That's what Chalk Zone.
how
Chalk Zone
Zone
was
is.
if you draw something on a chalkboard and then put it in a square and then erase it, that thing goes to
All
Chalk
right,
Zone.
time to rename it.
Yeah, it's Chalk Zone.
So it's
the
Chalk
Chalk
Zone.
Zone.
We're
The
no
Chalk
longer
Zone.
initiative.
Anyway,
Yeah.
season
Chalk
2 locations, absolutely the fucking arena when we played Bumper Beds. That was
Yes.
fucking
The giant
wonderful.
bed.
Yes.
Oh, that whole
Yeah.
place I loved.
Yeah,
That
Toontown
was
was
good.
fucking cool.
Toontown was
It was great.
amazing.
I don't think we can say Toontown. I think that's like copyright.
Yeah,
Probably.
Disney's gonna sue us.
Toon
World.
County.
Toon World.
Toon County.
Toon World is Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, shit.
Toon County. I like
It's
that.
Toon
Toon
County.
County.
I meant to say earlier that I loved the mini games that you made. Where
Yeah.
there was bumper
Yeah.
I did
beds.
have a question
Oh.
about that.
Okay, yeah.
It was just what mechanics that Colby added, like the mini games
Yeah.
and stuff. Did you like or did you not like?
I mean, my favorite one was how we were talking earlier about oh god, what's his name? Austrian boy.
Oh, Luther.
Luther.
Yeah, how how we all got handed the cards
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
said like
That was
what we
great.
know,
Yeah,
what we
he
don't
gave
know,
us our
what
motives.
to do.
Yes.
That I loved that
Yeah.
session. That was so good.
That worked out perfectly. That was something I was really nervous going into. I'm like, okay, they're gonna find a hole. I've left something shitty probably, but I can't.
Yep.
I have to do work.
Yeah,
I hope it works
That
out.
was
And it
great.
did. It
Yeah.
did.
I liked when we fought Hamadi Khan and we got the extra troops and that extra turn of things that we can do
Oh,
with
the
the
support
troops.
thing.
It kind of gave us like an RTS sort of feel, and I was really happy when you brought that back.
Yeah, that mechanic was made by
the
my friend
season.
Sam for our D&D stuff, and I was like, hey, can I just take this and modify a little? And he was like, yeah, and he gave me all the documents. So thank you, Sam.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be
That's
sure to use
awesome.
it more often now.
Yeah, big fan.
My favorite place.
Who's your favorite
Right.
place that you made up?
I don't know. No, I really like Union's Crest.
Yeah.
I like the shape. Like if I want to see like art of places other than the Converging Expanse, it would be Union's Crest because I really I like the idea of galactic UN and also just around the city, and like you could explore that city for a whole campaign, and there's just so much to
Yeah.
it.
It's the Coruscant of
Right. We
Yes.
didn't even
the
touch
campaign.
like a
Oh, yeah,
fraction of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We went to like 2 little like petals on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always get Mass Effect vibes, obviously. Just 'cause
Mhm.
It was
it's a
vaguely.
big sci-fi
I was thinking
city.
cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
vaguely trying to set up like Mass Effect because of the Citadel, because like the Citadel could like close and it almost felt like a flower, but I was like, not quite.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like do that, obviously. or-
Yeah.
It reminded me of Blade Runner Los Angeles,
Yeah.
where it
Wow,
was
Blade
just this dark, shitty, gritty place with neon lights everywhere.
Yeah.
Shitty
and too
Um,
many people.
It's
Yeah.
it's a mix of
Shitty
the
gritty.
Citadel and Bespin,
Yeah.
Cloud
Okay.
City,
Yep.
because you know like Cloud City is like this giant facility and like a stem
Mhm.
that like mines the gas from the. That's kind of like how
Yeah.
Union's Crest is.
Mhm. The other place that I really, really liked too was every time it came up, I was always happy. Was the Amble Belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It brought me back. Like we were nerding out about Chrono Cross
Yeah.
last week,
Mhm.
and like the first time that Surge like switches dimensions is on a beach,
Yeah.
and then every time you go back to that same beach, there's always that portal waiting for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always kind of pictured that whenever we talked about the Amble Belt was just like a long stretch of
Yeah.
shoreline with a bunch of little portals kind of in a row, sort of. I know it was like meant to be like the portals are in the shoreline.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always kind of pictured that. There's
It's all interpretation,
right. Connecticut Point, Warwick. There's a spot where there's a lighthouse, and then when there's low tide, there's a sandbar where it's just like a straight line of sand that leads to this.
Oh, I gotta go there.
And it's so
Yeah.
cool because like the shore like runs on either side and the waves come up alongside it,
Oh,
so you
that's
can
really
walk
nice.
straight down
What the
this
heck?
path. Like I was just there like maybe 3 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I was standing there when it was low tide, and I'm just looking. I'm like, this is the Amble Belt. This
Yeah.
is really fucking cool.
We'll have to go there and take some footage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I got
Am-
some cool photos of it. I'll have to send it to you guys. I have
Please do.
old
I
photos
wanna
that
see
are
that.
awesome,
Yeah.
and
The-
like you can see it.
That's
The
awesome.
Amble
Picture of the
Belt was originally like conceptualized as the afterlife.
Okay.
Like a place to go where you died.
Yeah.
And then Yaliru was like this Reaper type character that would lead you to a new future,
Hmm.
you know, kept vague. But
Almost like the ferryman.
Yeah. But I thought against it because I'm like, I don't want to think of an afterlife for this world. I don't really want there to be just yet, if at all. I want to keep that so vague, and I don't want to try and conceptualize something that big, because then I think you get into really dangerous like Marvel territory where you write yourself into holes. Because once you finally realize what something is, then you can start fucking around with it, right? And I don't want that to happen with something as pivotal as like when you die, right? So it became a place of where wanderers go, and transitory place between realms.
Cool. Logic has 2 questions for us.
Logic, I can answer the first one for you.
Yeah. Colby, any powers / advantages you are going to outlaw for the next campaign?
Speed,
time,
same as always.
Yeah, time is always out.
Yep.
It's so. It's so.
You are why. You know how like there are rules and then there are like problems.
I did not over.
You know, like when there's a sign and like you wonder
overpowered.
how could that sign have been written? What could have happened that could have caused that sign to have been written?
It was me.
Time is too complicated, and it just breaks a game, right? That's homebrew stuff. That's homebrew territory. I just don't want. Could it be done well? Yeah, of course it can. Do I want to put in the effort to make it work well? No. The only people who get time abilities are me. And I'll throw that against them at some point, probably.
Yeah.
Cold-hearted.
Yeah. God, don't even like. Time. I hate time stuff. It's just too much.
Yeah. The other question, I kind of want to take the liberty of answering if everybody's okay with that. Logic asked, what kind of characters are you thinking for the next campaign?
Wait, are we
We
divulging?
No.
Okay.
We're not saying at all.
That's
We
what
have
I-
our characters, we have our concepts.
Yeah.
They're written. We gotta make sheets for them, but we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're gonna discover it as you guys watch us happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's that simple.
Yeah.
We're just going to discover our characters while you guys are watching us do it.
Yes.
For like, in regards to like banning stuff, I try not to. Like, obviously, time is like a major exception. But instead of saying no to players, I just try to make things either like too difficult, or I put them in situations where it just might not be best to have those abilities. Like, mind control is a really weird one to work with, because a lot of boss fights can be ended with mind control, kill yourself. Right? Or mind control, lock them up,
Think
boys.
of that.
You know?
Because I don't kill people.
So like that kind of forced me to be like, all right, lots of will saves, and let's throw some villains at them that are partially immune or just really strong against will abilities like that. And also, like, you know, she had unnecessary flaws on it for like tiring and stuff like that, which helped out a lot. So, you know, I still think it worked out really well, and it didn't break the game. So that was like the best case scenario.
I also feel like we have a good crew here who, like, we don't try to break the game.
No.
We don't play like there's always that one person who like tries to break the game and like wants to do X, Y, and Z and da. But like we really don't.
No,
Play
we're not
that.
self-serving min-maxers
No, like
at all.
like Kobe was saying, like I had the mind control, but I made it difficult for a reason because I didn't want to do that and be like, yeah, all right, you're all mind controlled, all right, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a challenge. I didn't want it to be reliable.
I think.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Another good example of is the unstoppable, untouchable power that Adam has. The actual power is just like you're invincible forever.
Yeah.
You just can't get hit now.
Yeah.
But we made it. You know, we altered it.
flavor it,
We homebrewed it to be like, okay, it's tiring and it fades, and you know.
You say
back down
homebrew, but it's like in the realm of the game. Like
That's true.
It's just we just added flaws, which is a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why Mutants Masterminds is really cool because it's so customizable.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
I what was I gonna say?
You want to come back to you?
Yeah, we'll give it a minute. I'm good.
Actually,
Joey's being a bully, so
that's okay.
he asked who was the biggest bitch, and probably Colby definitely.
Yeah, I think so too.
we all were at heart, you know.
I have a
In our
fan
own
question
ways.
from our friend Zachy.
Of course.
It's for me.
Oh.
Me.
So you've had a couple hours to stew on it.
Would
Yeah.
you, as the GM, ever consider killing off someone's character mid-campaign? Could be for a dramatic effect or just a straight up power move as a GM. Have I considered it? Yes.
He thinks about it every day.
I mean, player death is like, that's tough, right? I was always afraid of Cory's character dying, of Elias dying.
Really?
Because you're so attached to him
Mhm.
that like, I could just see you getting really upset. And I was like, oh man, is he gonna flip out if like he dies? I don't know. You know, that's more a testament to like, how much you like your character and stuff. Like if I killed off Adam, I know like David would be bummed, but he's played so many games, and like he would have been like, okay, time to make the next character.
Yeah, like
You
like
know?
it would definitely suck. Like I'm definitely attached to Adam because we've been playing for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
But as long as his death was cool.
Right.
Right. That was the approach I had like this season because I knew shit was gonna get bad.
Yeah.
It was just
Honestly,
like as long as he
we-
goes out the right way, I don't care.
Yeah, of course.
It-
Honestly, we all should have died
Yeah,
during the
yeah.
entity fight.
Right.
Especially me when I lost like the the generosity that Colby
Well,
displayed.
you skipped phase 2. Your mind control
Uh-huh.
and used a hero point. Everything that happened in that moment skipped phase 2. Phase 2 was fighting Wilt Lucius without wings and with his spear. There's 3 phases. It was full powered Wilt Lucius with his spear, and then the monster.
Right.
And you completely, he had one turn where he like just destroyed Elias and Adam,
Oh,
and I
right.
was like, this is the fucking end, dude.
Yeah, I
he's
thought that was
technically
it.
weaker in that form, but just good rolls happen.
Oh.
And then you got the big mind control on him.
Yeah.
Ripped Wilt out of him,
Oh.
which was supposed to happen later in the fight. And then his monster form came out.
Yeah.
And then
I-
Wilt was able to do the scripted event of healing.
I thought that fight went way too fast.
I mean-
Honestly, like,
Skipped it. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when after we beat him, I was just kind of like, "That's it."
Yeah.
like I get
Well-
it. Like we
We
got
did
our
it.
asses handed to us, and we somehow made it through. But like it felt easier than the Dark Entity fight.
Oh,
Sure.
I was talking more about when we fought the Dark Entity though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. When we fought the Dark Entity, we definitely were rolling. We rolled terrible that day.
Yeah, that was
like
bad,
that.
yeah.
Our luck was not on our side, and we all definitely could have died right then and there. And it was just not.
You had a lot of help in that fight, though.
We did.
You had a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
had a lot of
allies.
ads.
I didn't want to bring the allies in for the finale. They had their own fight.
Right.
This is about like you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I did like the like little cameos.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
gonna say
I
I
need to do
really liked the
something with
cameo of
Yeah.
Taylor's character.
Yeah.
That was
yeah, that was my favorite one.
That
too,
was
actually.
wonderful.
Jacob's too fun to like just do stuff with because his
Yeah.
power is so unique and so like appropriate for the setting as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Something I'm surprised you didn't attempt to do is try to pull the guest characters back for the finale.
Logistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
I wanted to. I
Right.
wanted.
Because it would have been so cool to have like Will and Taylor
Evan
like
and-
fight.
If we were in the
Wow.
last place,
With
I would have
us.
had Evan come back for like a brief fight,
Yeah,
and then I would have had him switch out for Taylor,
Mm.
and like had like this thing going.
yeah, because that
Um,
would have been cool. It would have gave like the world some continuity.
Yeah, I really wanted to, but like we're here, and
Yeah.
Taylor just had a kid.
Right.
That's
Super busy. I'm sure
Yeah.
Taylor, you would have like probably been cool with it, or whatever. But maybe you were like super busy and stuff.
Mm.
But also the logistics
yeah,
behind it were just
would
too
have been
difficult.
unfair of us
Yeah.
to ask for.
Because I think I think the finale happened like the day before or the day after or something. You had your kid, Taylor. So like, I don't know. I don't remember the specific time period, but like, geez,
Would have been
dude.
tough.
Yeah. Joey asks, Colby, how many times did you want to just completely stomp that? I mean, yeah. There were a lot of there were a few instances where like you guys are like, we're gonna pick a fight, and I'm like, you are not ready for this fight.
We fucking.
You're like, I'm gonna take out the Umbra Collective back in season 1. I'm like, you're not. You want to fight Big Shot? Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
amount of times we busted Colby's balls, just being like, yeah,
Oh
come on.
yeah. Whenever you roll nat 20 and you're like, bitch, fuck yeah. And I'm like, okay. Don't focus every single
Dude,
attack
that's
it
all
out.
Nicole.
Yeah.
We don't get that
That's what I
hyped.
mean,
When it
yeah.
happens, we're like, oh, cool, great, I can do that thing I was trying to do.
That's-
Nicole is like, fuck your whole family!
To be fair, though, it's so hard for me to pull off the things that I want to pull off. So when I do get that nat 20, it's like, it means something. Like, it's not just
I get attacked, guys. I get attacked by
I've only rolled 120 in the entirety of our streaming time, so I
Your fault because you used the worst dice.
I know. It was during the Wolf fight. I got a 20, right?
Yeah.
I got
You've gotten multiple 20s.
Your dice does weigh like 8 pounds.
I have this giant metal dice, and it never rolls well ever.
You can't say shit, because my dice is Looney Tunes as fuck.
It is.
I wish we had a dice
You've had
cam.
every single week to buy a new one.
It's not the dice, though. Actually, no, it might be the dice.
It might be the dice.
I don't know. We haven't quite figured it out.
I still stand by my thought that you were like a cheating gambler in your past life, and you got killed for it, and now here you are
I know.
with a crappy dice now.
Yeah.
Dude.
Question.
Yes.
I got 2 questions for everyone. Favorite hero / NPC, and then favorite villain.
Rise 100%.
Yeah, saw that. Yep.
Rise is definitely
Rise is my
favorite.
favorite
Yeah.
person.
Yeah,
And,
Rise is like Willy Wonka.
It's so funny.
That's actually what I think of.
Yeah,
It's like Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
I think also just because like when we first met Rise, he was just like such a fun character, but in a serious setting, so it was like a nice way to let off some of that like tension.
Yeah. You met the blood mage goth
Yeah.
dude who's like, time to destroy the world. And a minute later, like, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make burgers now.
That's a hard question.
Favorite villain?
Antagonist, I should say.
That's rough. That is hard.
You know it's security guard 2 at Spearhead Tech.
Yeah, definitely
So-
the guards from the first episode of season 0.
Oh my god.
Part of
Fighting in this high school laboratory.
Part of me wants to say Wilt is my favorite villain, but I think that was more season 0. Wilt. I think Maria was a very good villain.
Yeah, that's a
when we
good
streamed.
one. Yeah, she just kept coming back.
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah, Maria was legit.
Her power was
Not to die.
she was just like, yeah, I mean, she had cloning. And what happened was when Adam, I guess I didn't say this now, when Adam pulled her to Nabaya, it was a clone. It wasn't actually her. And what happened was the clone began to mutate because it had no more host hive to connect to.
Oh, interesting.
And so its cells would just, I don't know what to do, and be turned into this monstrosity
Oh.
Interesting.
that retained Maria's personality and memories and quest for vengeance.
Yeah, I think Barbosa was my favorite antagonist and a villain. She was just so it was more than her just being tough to beat, but the attitude and like the pure like, I don't want to say evil, but almost
She's cocky. She's so confident. There was not a single moment where she was on screen where she was doubting something.
Yeah,
Right.
the absolute confidence and the fact that she was just crushing us was so frustrating.
Yeah, the 4 stars.
It was absolutely upsetting as a player when we were fighting her. Every time we
Right.
fought her, like both times we fought her, it was horrible.
and the
That's-
stakes were so high, and just to like fail.
That's the Bleach moment, the anime moment at the beginning where the hero's like feeling hot shit, like I just got this new ability, and then not even the main villain, but just like the lieutenant comes in and it's just like,
Nope.
That's exactly what it was.
Get your shit out
yeah,
of here.
damn.
What's funny is for me, like to like my choice for that, I got that vibe, even though he didn't really stand up like in that kind of a way, but I always got that sense of like impending doom and dread whenever Kaito showed up.
Yeah.
He was like the Darth Vader of our campaign.
Yeah.
Whenever he showed up, he's got his fucking sword on his side, and he's just like cold and badass, and he's so confident, and he was just ready to fucking kill anybody at any moment's notice.
The funniest thing about that is we made that villain.
Yeah, we did.
I like
because
that.
he was not really
Yeah.
a villain
He
when
was
we
just a
first
dude.
met him. He was just like, he was just guard 1.
Yeah.
And
No,
we were
he
just
was-
like, fuck you, bitch.
he
and he
was
was
like-
like, bet.
He was one of the higher up dudes of the Yakuza when we got to Japan.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like
He
he was
wasn't
a
just nobody.
sovereign lackey,
Yeah.
Right.
and then you know,
Yeah, he was working for the sovereign.
and then
but-
he ended up like killing the sovereign in season 1.
Yeah.
You know, so I love Kaito. He's
Yeah.
so, his sword the one that like you can't see until he finally draws it and then does his die move, it had an ability. It can hit anything dimensional, and it can also rend through dimensions.
Oh, nice.
So that's why when he was in the Amble Belt, everything went to shit because he was like, I can cut this entire realm in half.
Question.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The Blade of the Dark Entity had dimensional. Could it have blocked his Kaito's sword?
Potentially, yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
I think so. But, you know, you guys kind of threw that sword away.
Yeah.
I gave it to you, and then you threw it.
Which is a shame because that could have been a very powerful artifact.
We used it. We
you
did
stabbed
something.
Lauren.
Yeah, that's when we
right.
Lauren with it.
Oh my god.
That's when we were like, we're not
Right.
gonna use this anymore.
Right.
Anyway,
what's your favorite?
My favorite like good guy. Cam, absolutely.
Oh,
100%
yeah.
Cam. Cam was my favorite character
so
to
cute.
interact with
Mm-hmm.
because like Elias kind of had the opportunity to treat Cam as like the like adoptive kid / little sibling kind of thing. Like every single time I like spoke to the character in character, he always called them kid.
Yeah.
It was just it's like I can see where you're going to go in your life and you're not quite where I'm at yet, kid. So like I'll steer you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think that may have been loosely that like responsibility of the character. Like if Elias weren't that character to have that role, I don't know if anybody else would have. Like she kind of like they kind of attached to V, but V didn't take on Cam in that same energy. It was just like, well, you're with us now, so now I got to deal with one more.
Yeah.
V's attitude towards Cam is a very subdued but motherly role of like. V's the one sitting in front of the fire, like reading a book as like people play around. Just looks up like, "Hey, did you fuck up? No, you're good. Yeah, I'm gonna do my thing." Yeah,
because there was, I could definitely sense like favoritism isn't the right word, but it's kind of like the first one that comes to mind. V's attitude towards Cam, because if Cam was just any other kid that had the same exact personality without the power, like V would just be like, "Shut the fuck up, get out of my way. You can roll with us, but don't annoy me." But with Cam being as formidable as they were, I think, I mean, you were like holding the wheel in the whole situation, but it kind of felt like V was like respect, like game recognized game. You're cool, like, hang with us, just don't get in my way, and everything's gonna be good. But I'll look out for you too because I know I'm totally stronger than you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe it was the fact that V got to witness Cam sort of lose that big sister or motherly role in their lives, and immediately was like, I'll fill that void.
Right.
I'll take that. And also
with Barbosa,
they know how it felt.
Yeah, exactly. There is a void in both of their lives, right? V lost her brother, or her younger brother, go figure, and Cam lost his mother, big sister figure.
Yeah.
It was kind of like made for each other.
Right.
Also, Joey said the Robin in regards to what you said before.
Absolutely. When I think of like Cam trying to like come along with Elias to everything, it's so that Spider-Verse scene where Miles has the shitty Spider-Man costume and he's like crouching next to like washed up old Spider-Man, like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, don't worry about it, kid, I'll handle it. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I definitely got that. Definitely, absolutely, like the sidekick vibe.
Antagonist? Did you say?
Kaito.
You said Kaito.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say antagonist? You did. You said,
Maria.
Okay. Did you say your hero? An NPC?
No.
It's hard.
Ass.
It's hard to choose this one. Honestly,
Very.
I kind of like Xavier.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah. He's just such a goofball, but wants to be more than a goofball. I kind of
so Casey Jones.
Yeah. I just love that.
Yeah. He was an accident character, like an improv character, because you needed a date.
Yeah.
And I was I don't have a date lined up. I didn't plan for this, so I made Xavier, and I was like, this guy's gonna be done. I said this back in the post show for one. He's out. He's gonna get rejected or have a bad time. He's gonna piss his pants and run away during the dance. But he stuck around.
That comes full circle with what we were talking about in the beginning about every NPC has a full life
Right.
and it has to
Yeah.
be treated with the respect of having that life and exploring it if it's necessary.
That's what's important, right? Especially with NPCs and also, you know, your villains. They all have to have a past. They all have to have relationships already, and they all have to have goals and just motivations, right? I mean, it sucks interacting with characters who you know are just so paper thin
Right.
that you won't get anything out of them. So I'm like, why am I wasting my time talking to you? Get out.
It also stifles
Hey, Sean.
the desire to interact with NPCs, because if they're all flat and they're all two-dimensional, they're all like, you know, no character in them, you don't want to be like, who's here? What characters can I?
Yeah, they're
You're
just like the cardboard cutout that you press the button when you have to, so they can say the thing that they are supposed to say, and then that's it. Like, that sucks. Nobody wants to deal with that.
My favorite character was I always go back and forth. It's always between Cam, V, and
V was a really
Rise.
good character.
Those three. I mean, Cedric also has this really special place in my heart because like Cedric's the easiest for me to slip into in terms of a role play. It's like, just be dumb.
Cedric's wonderful.
You know,
I love Cedric.
So good, yeah.
He's such a
He's wholesome.
He's such the hero's best friend.
Yeah.
Like that's
he really
the
is.
perfect like role for him to play.
Yeah.
And I love V because of just similar to Barbosa, but this confidence that V has that I want to channel in my own life of just that fuck it attitude that lets V do whatever she wants.
Yeah, V's a character I wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time talking about. And just kind of explore like where V came from and what your goal was with V and I mean my reaction as Elias to V.
Yeah, V was initially conceptualized as the consequences of your actions. Hence the brother thing, everything like that. Was the fact that you had a situation in episode 0, I guess you want to call it, of season 1, that one session we did before we started, where I just started noticing, I'm like, they just like ran through this pharmacy and just like killed a bunch of people. That's not very heroic.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it. Let's remind ourselves like the themes of this world and this campaign. And that's how V sort of started, and then I liked her skill set so much during a Vice and Sin fight of just like using music to fight. Like I was like, oh, that's so cool.
No, the band fight was really cool.
Oh,
that was
awesome.
That was so fun to do.
Yeah.
And as she just started going forward in her relationships with the characters and everything, she just fit so well with everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody had these great interactions. I would have liked to have more Adam and V interactions because that's so like that not a lot happened.
Yeah, I never really got too much with her besides when I was in Elias's body.
Oh my god.
You fucking asshole.
It almost felt like, dare I say, like V was sort of like the fourth player, even though there was no player for her.
Right.
It like she was kind of held in the same revere almost.
Especially when she started casting spells.
Right. Yeah. Where did the inspiration or the decision to come from for that to make V
a witch,
a
sorceress?
Basically, yeah.
So she was stuck in the Converging Expanse for quite some time before you rescued her, and she was stuck in the libraries of Animus, constantly being chased by the monstrous form of Judge Brem. And that fucks with you a lot. And because she was so powerless in that situation, she had to revert back to her street, like living on the streets, especially when she was younger. And that sense of powerlessness started pulling throughout that entire Converging Expanse arc, where she couldn't really do much. She had like a gun that was useless. And then she's like, what the hell? Like, she just felt so insignificant that by the time you met Rise, and Rise is like, hey, I learned to do all this stuff. She's like, that's it. I'm going to dedicate myself to that and learn that so I can not feel so helpless ever again. So that's how she became a sorceress.
It's cool.
The sorcerers of
She was
Praguev.
definitely one of my favorite characters.
Did it Was it just because it seemed natural that you pushed V in the direction of Elias in terms of like a romantic relationship or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, like aesthetics had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
She met with you specifically at the Crumb on In.
That's right.
And that sort of just developed in on it. So it's just magnetized, right?
Yeah.
And I also thought, oh, wouldn't it be fucked up if she got into a relationship with the guy who killed her brother?
Yeah.
And initially she was gonna like kill you.
Interesting.
Like just stab you right in the back and be like, bitch, gotcha.
Well, the whole thing always felt like that was going to happen eventually anyway.
And it culminated in season 2 to that moment
Right.
of like, I can't, like, it, instead of quest of vengeance, it became of, am I fucked up? Like, dude, I'm with the guy who killed my brother.
Yeah, it was like a moment of clarity. It felt
Yeah, like I'm so fucked up right now, and she had to come to terms.
I think V is one of the characters that I've always had a very distinct image of in my head.
Yeah.
And it's
for sure.
always been your Shadowrun character that you
Oh.
campaign. But
I wish.
until I played Cyberpunk, then it was Judy from Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
I
I
get
always
that.
just think of like a younger version of like the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Mm.
Dude, you
Yeah.
know what's fucked up? If you look in the Rogues Gallery, which is a book put out by Green Ronin for Mutants and Masterminds, it has all villains. There's literally V in it.
Really?
Like,
What?
it is a punk rock demon summoning. She plays a guitar to fight.
What?
Like
That's
she is like young
amazing.
girl.
That's
Like
wonderful.
just it's like almost her to a T. The only thing that's different is that she is Middle Eastern, whereas I
Her-
think she's Asian.
Mm.
Her,
Green
Yeah,
Ronin
her ethnicity, I don't think it's ever specified in.
it didn't matter.
in-
Her last
it's
name's
like it
Hatem.
was-
Like,
Huh.
over there.
Really? Yeah. Okay. What's
Yeah.
V's full name while we're on the subject?
Victoria Hatem.
Oh wow.
Interesting. I didn't know
Nice.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, ethnicity never really like
No, that never came
it doesn't
up.
like
Yeah.
you know.
No.
I just say
Doesn't matter.
what the characters
Yeah.
are. You know.
Yeah, it's not that
their
it was-
accents
yeah,
usually
it's-
give away.
right.
Can you guess Kaito?
Yeah.
Sean saying the music really added a new dynamic to a lot of the sessions.
Yeah.
What was your I don't know if I want to say what was your favorite track that we played that gave the most emotional impact, or what was your inspiration for choosing those tracks for the moods?
So one, Persona
Copyrights.
music does not
Copyright.
have copyright for some reason. Like, we don't get flagged for Persona
Oh,
music.
Love Persona.
Persona is really good because like the setting. I always think of the settings, and it's either setting or emotion. What's happening here? And how do I get the music for that? And I had to make sure it wasn't old music. Like I could pull Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross music, but the problem is the instruments or the sound chips that made those games back in the day, that music doesn't sound good when suddenly you hear 8-bit, 32-bit music or PlayStation. A lot of PlayStation 1 music is very hit or miss. It just sounds distinctly different to the music that's out nowadays, and it kind of just pulls you out of it. It'd be really weird if you were at Union's Crest, and it just wouldn't convey the same feeling if you're there and I play some sci-fi game music on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, you hear like chiptune music, and it's weird
It
compared
just
to
yeah,
classical.
I went there. So like
compositions.
games like Mass Effect are so much better for something like that, you know. It's gonna suck in I want to get all new music for campaign 2. And that kind of sucks because like I don't know what's gonna make YouTube or Twitch hate us.
Yeah,
you know,
that's always the hardest thing is
So,
copyright stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm honestly excited for having a completely new like musical vibe for it, because in the off chance that he brings back a song for any particular reason from the first campaign, it's
It'll
going
hit us.
yeah, it's gonna like hit us in the balls. Like it's gonna be so cool. Like I bring it up a lot just because it's a great reference to things, but like Star Wars did such a beautiful job of bringing back motifs in music whenever a specific character showed up, and it evokes such emotion whenever like each character almost has their own theme.
Yeah.
So like to have that, like it's almost like whenever we ended up back in New York and music like this came back on, and we had that sense of relief that just kind of washed over us.
Right.
It feels so good to hear
Right,
this.
yeah.
Like we took this for granted every time we heard this
Yeah.
before.
My favorite track is like pause. Boo.
Yes. Like the best is like shit's going bad when like Colby pauses the background music,
Yeah, you're like, hold
and
on.
then the droning music from Vampire the Masquerade
Yeah.
Bloodlines kicks in.
Yeah.
It just says
Yep.
You fade in,
Yeah, like from that point on, you know shit's going down and things are about to get good.
No.
Yeah.
One question that I had, which is a little off topic, but it's kind of on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
What's something in this campaign that you would like to leave behind or take over into the next campaign?
Oh, like what would we cross into the second campaign if we had control?
Yeah, or more I was thinking like if there's something like with your character that you didn't necessarily want to bring into the next campaign, or that you do want to bring like more of, like we were talking about the music, like more you know, like a different track of music, or like bring more of that energy or less of this, or
maybe for me, more emotional moments.
Yeah.
Like very heavy, like with I'm talking to Delilah,
right?
Or like
that gets brought back so much, and music was such a huge
Oh,
factor
yeah.
of
That
that.
was good.
It was music, and it was so coincidence because like there were certain points where like the music would crescendo at a certain point, and then it would stop just as like Colby would finish monologuing.
Right.
It would hit, and then there was this heavy moment of silence that would linger in the air, and then the next track would pick up, and then like you just naturally knew to respond at that point.
Yep.
Like there was so much beautiful improv
or
happening.
like you had a really good moments with your mom.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, it was just like NPC and player character interactions that are like just heavy hitting.
Yeah, the conversations we've had last weekend, like I can already picture certain things that are going to happen, moments like that with the characters we're starting to flesh out and prepare to bring in.
To moments with Jackie that I always remember are when you and Maria talked at the Spearhead getaway.
The retreat.
That was a very good conversation. It was like very strong. When you threw a knife at V.
That was super tense.
And when you stabbed Lauren. Like those are the three like heavy moments that Jackie had that I remember.
Baby.
Yeah, like
the dance was so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite things like in the whole campaign.
That was the most painful thing.
Yeah. And I know you can't have too many of those moments obviously, or they lose their value.
Right.
But just I want those moments to carry over, like moments similar to
that. Oh, that's good.
I can't wait to just do more like setting seeds. It's my favorite thing to do. If you go back and watch episode 1 of season 2, the pre-scene gives away the whole gem in the earth.
Oh, really?
It's Levat, the gem. He's at the battle of the dark entity, and he's dancing around, and he's just coming around, things are exploding, and he puts something in the ground, and he's like, be back for you later.
I remember him showing up incredibly early on, and then when he came back, it was like, oh, I remember that dude. I don't remember why I remember him, but I remember him.
Even if we forget those seeds, that's amazing for the people who are listening.
Right.
I remember that.
That almost gives it like, it's like when you watch a movie for the second time after knowing all the twists, and you're like, they fucking had it all along.
Yeah. That's like my favorite thing to do is like, oh, they forgot about that.
Yeah, they'll pay for that.
I love
that. My thing, honestly, is I'm such a sucker for fucking cameos and references to prior things that we've been a part of. Like, to know that the things that we did in this campaign are going to affect the next one, and seeing how these things we've done get referenced or brought up, or if different characters happen to show up, or like different situations like that have affected other people outside of the characters that we know. Like seeing those branches grow in other directions are going to be. It's gonna be so exciting to watch.
That's gonna be the tough part of keeping that balance of like good cameo and also like you're a new watcher, right? You're joining just for this campaign. You didn't even watch the first one. Making sure they're still well informed and they don't feel left out, right?
Right.
Yeah, like I don't expect you to just like drop like V happens to show up like fucking Sorcerer Supreme.
Like,
and then
just it being a beat up van, like my van broke down, I had to do a gig.
Yeah, she's like 40. Like no, like I don't see that happening at all. That's really heavy handed, but having like the little quick references of like, hey, like I remember when that happened, or like having a character show up and like we know them, but their past is irrelevant to the new characters, or that kind of thing. Like, that's the shit I eat up. Because when you see them, you're like, I know everything about them.
I got a hair or something in my eye. There's definitely like I've talked about it a bunch, and something that I'm really excited for is one thing I want to leave behind is definitely being in inserts.
Yeah.
Like definitely I mean, this campaign was so much fun to do, and with us being inserts, part of what came with that was our synergy was just really good. Yeah. I mean, our characters just had really good synergy.
Oh, hold on.
Whoa.
I need Astros gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the
Oh
community.
shit!
Whoa, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Big explosion.
Oh my god, thank you.
Thank you.
Boom, look at that.
Woo! Woo!
Holy crap.
What a pro.
Thank you so
What
much.
a pro gamer.
I know. That's the MVP move right there.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Very nice. Very nice.
Getting everybody ready
Oh
for
my
the
gosh.
next campaign.
I only lurker.
Yeah,
Hey, that's fine
Yeah,
with me
you can
now.
work all you want.
you
we
look.
appreciate it.
So you pull up a seat.
Yeah, right? Welcome to the party.
So self-insert kind of stuff is something you want to...
Yeah, I definitely want to leave that into this campaign. Although it was very fun just to like give a little bit extra and like have our synergy be really good. I definitely want the next campaign to be like feel more like a story, like how the viewers get it,
Yeah.
and not just something that we experience going through.
Yeah.
But something like I said that I want to keep is just how our synergy is, and how no matter what character or who we are, it just melds into something that is just really hopefully fun to experience for the viewers, but also fun to just play, and it's not just for stream, but just to have a good time. Like, we genuinely look forward to the Wednesdays that we do this, and just, you know, being able to keep that up.
Absolutely over there. I think that's a good point to bring up, like the self-insert thing. It's going to be interesting to get away from that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crush in chat. Val Shion or Val Exion, however you want to say that. And that's the DM a mechanic question that may or not give the players an idea. Oh, okay. There's a question. Yes. Until you ask that, anybody else have a question?
I was just gonna say, I think since this was mostly our first Mutants Masterminds campaign, it's the self-insert part really gave us that good learning experience and a good foundation.
It was still valuable
to now roleplay as characters that aren't us and feel more comfortable doing so.
Yes.
You know?
If I may drop a quick thing here to make eagle-eyed viewers question everything they know. The character I'm playing next, if you've been paying attention, you already know who it is.
Yeah, you do.
I've brought him up before. We've talked about this.
Very exciting.
David.
Yes.
I
was just calling him Adam. You touched on this earlier, but I thought maybe you want to expand on it. Was Adam ever concerned with being a Nabayan, or was he always firmly an Earthling in his mind?
A little of both. He always had. He was always mainly an Earthling, and always was like, "This is who I am. I'm a kid in high school. My friends are on Earth. My family's on Earth." But ever since the first time he went to Nabaya, he was there was always a nagging sensation in the back of his head, like, maybe I should be different. Maybe I should be like how I'm meant to be. Or there was always that question, like, am I meant to be where my biological parents are? Or like an Abayan? Am I meant to fight? That's like, I was engineered for this? Or was I meant to be where I was raised and what I know? And
Adam strikes me as the kind of character of, like, what if Krypton didn't blow up, but Kal-El still ended up on Earth? Like, would he still be Superman? Would he still end up being this guy with a responsibility to the planet? Or would he wonder what lays beyond?
Yeah. Or another example, kind of like how, I guess spoilers for Invincible, but when Invincible...
Yeah, go on.
When in Invincible, you know, when he's told he's a Viltrumite, and what a Viltrumite is.
Right.
But
just
like, you know, if his dad wasn't a dick, if he's like, okay, that's what I am, but maybe I shouldn't be that, or maybe I should. Like, I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry.
When did we talk about Namor? Yeah, I'm gonna be the Submariner next time when
Just a question from Valor.
That way I don't ever
that's
drown
fucking
again.
funny.
All right, we're gonna switch games real quick. Going into D&D mode. If a warlock archfey jumps out of a 10th floor window and stabs himself with attack for 1 damage to teleport through a 5th floor window, do they still take fall damage, or does teleportation negate that?
I would say teleportation
negates
negates that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree actually.
Yeah.
So fucking
Dude,
dumb.
that's
so
fucking
stupid.
That's just physics, man.
That's such a specific question. I know someone's
I
doing
know.
that. The campaign you're doing. I know that someone's doing that too.
I know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I'd
fucking
say you're
awesome.
totally good.
Yeah.
I'd say you're totally
That's
good.
I think
like-
we unanimously agree. Like, don't worry about it. Man.
That's
Yeah,
that's like
So
asking
funny.
about the peon railgun in D&D. Right? If,
Oh my
if
god.
if 300
Oh my
if
god.
300 people line up and pass a spear from the back of the line to the front of the line in the same round, since a round is 6 seconds, it takes 6 seconds for it to travel, which breaks the sound barrier, and then you're gonna stab someone with like max damage.
There is
So
no way
stupid.
300 people could pass one object from the first person to the 300th in 6
You
seconds.
can't in D&D.
Technically, yeah. Technically.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
Malarkey.
You would think.
Shenanigans.
I love that.
One thing that a question for Adam. Did you know that your parents were robots all along, or were you surprised?
I didn't know. I was told.
No,
Eventually.
so originally you were supposed to have a sister and normal
Mm.
Earthling parents.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't you have a sister?
On my
No.
original character sheet, I
Oh.
But
When
it
we
was
did
never-
when we did
No.
like session 0.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
Supergirl was his cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't know.
did. But no,
it.
Adam did not always know, and I think he was eventually told by Mercury, or Mercury shut them off
Yeah.
at one point, and then that's when I realized.
Did you find out earlier than us, or did you find out at the same time?
I found out earlier than you.
Yeah.
I think. I knew for a while,
Hmm.
but I didn't know all along.
Because
I
I
think it was
definitely.
like session or season 0. You figured
Yeah,
it out.
yeah, it was season
It was
0.
when you were like, hey, we're gonna go to this retreat before the Sovereign.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, and then you're like, okay, I'll shut him off.
Yeah. that's what-
No, it couldn't have been that.
Or was
No,
Nabaya
I
when
was-
we went to Nabaya?
It definitely was before that because it
It's
wasn't
Tokyo.
like.
It was Tokyo then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
decided to go to Tokyo. You were like, bye. Like, boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
I'm out of questions.
I
I
got
got a
lots.
question for GM. Where did Rise and V end up after the campaign?
Mm.
Because when we wrapped up everybody, like aside from like V coming along with us or whatever, like we didn't establish where V was going afterwards.
Yeah, V got a job at the Crumb On Inn
Mhm.
and has a shitty apartment.
Oh yeah,
In
yeah,
New
that's
York.
right. But I mean, like, I mean more so
Oh.
like with Rise.
Oh, like both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, V is still training under Rise, and would probably eventually break away from him, which is something that he would want. He's not really the teacher type, to be fair. Not that he doesn't like teaching, but he's kind of about himself. And once she realizes that, like, okay, I kind of got all I can get out of this guy, I'll still use his library and his materials and stuff, but I think I'm done with him, and branches out and becomes a sorceress of her own.
Yeah.
But
I could see that.
But it's
for sure.
weird because like sorcery isn't her number one concern. Rise is all about like magic and figuring out the arcane.
Right.
But
But he doesn't have the level of responsibility that she
Well,
does.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
just
exactly.
Kinda, he doesn't have any attachments.
V is more concerned with being this mother figure at that point and taking
Interesting.
and not so much turning Cam into like a functioning member of society, but more so of like I want to help Cam find their way, and in turn that'll help me find my way. That that doesn't involve putting my life in danger all the time.
Yeah.
And Sean also asks, "What's in store for the future of KTX?"
Should we at least say like there's
No.
anything?
No.
There is going to be a campaign too.
Yes.
Yes, there's going to be a campaign
We've
too.
established that.
Yes.
It is in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But more than that, we're keeping on the
It's
low.
too-
Should we
early.
reveal a
It-
timetable?
No.
Like
no,
of when
no,
or anything
it's
like
not gonna
that?
be like super soon. Like, but we're not gonna give like a concrete date. It's in the works and it's
Yes.
like being worked on.
We're going to be live here every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. still.
Yes,
Mhm.
But we're
Just
still
doing
going to be
various
doing things.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
That's
while
not what
we
I was talking
prepare.
about. I meant plot. I meant like setting, like where are we going to be?
No.
It takes place.
Not.
Yeah, we're gonna be here every week. We know that.
Yeah.
It takes
In your
place
home,
in
we know where you live.
Soul
We have your
Society.
address.
It's just a Bleach campaign.
Yeah, it's just Bleach
We're
campaign.
just gonna play Bleach. Or we're gonna play the Dragon Ball Z tabletop game. That would be
Yes,
so
we're
fun.
going
Is that
to
a thing?
get
Yeah,
everybody
it's
kicked out.
fan-made.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because we've talked about that
Super good.
before. In order
Yep.
to do your power, you have to scream it at the top of your
Your
lungs.
signature attack, you have to yell it, or it
Nice,
doesn't work.
I like that.
It's a great mechanic. I would love that.
Dude,
I would love a one shot of Dragon Ball Z where we just like do
Pick a
just so
pre-existing
stupid.
character and go
Stupidest
for it, and you have to
fucking
voice act them the
shit.
whole time and
Yeah.
everything. Oh my god,
And we just
I'm already there.
Alright, you all power up.
I love that. I love that.
Amazing.
Yeah,
But
that'd
like
be
name
amazing.
your attack something really dumb.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, what was it? The paper, rock, scissors, fist, or something?
rock paper scissors.
No, they called it in a different order in the games.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Anyway, we got that out of our systems. Have you seen the last of the Jewel Cutter?
No, definitely not.
Dun, dun, dun.
Definitely not.
See, we
That
did
would-
get
I
a
would
little
be.
bit out of
I'd be
it.
very ashamed if the Jewel Cutter was gone. by that
I
point.
like him as a character.
You know?
I like the idea of him being North Thanos.
Kind of, right?
Mm.
He's part of something like so much bigger
Mm.
of what's happening, and which is why like when Jackie was like, "I'm gonna punch him," I was like,
Fool. You absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that the biggest baddie's weakness is always fist.
Yeah.
It's true,
You just have the
true.
power of muscle.
but you need timing
You're right.
because the first fist always fails,
Yeah.
but the last
Yeah,
one,
the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You're right.
the friendship one, that's the one you need.
I'm glad that although I didn't get like any last hits for anybody in like the entirety of the campaign,
Yep.
that I got the last one.
It was great. It was great. It was a cool moment.
Some questions from Sean. Favorite part of the series?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too. What is our favorite overall moment of the entire campaign?
Fuck, that's hard.
That
That's
feels
a
like the
rough
right question to ask.
That is hard, especially because we had season 0.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so many good moments happen then, but I don't want to
Just-
pick
no,
those
no,
moments.
do-
You
yeah,
know?
do what we've
do
aired.
broadcasted moments.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so self-serving, but one of my favorite Elias moments is flying that fucking flying serpent thing when we
Oh,
were
yeah.
on the
Oh
ship.
yeah, when you rode the
Introverted.
dragon.
When I
Yes!
rode the fucking dragon for like
Oh, that was
a good 20 minutes and controlled it and
Yeah.
like threw fireballs on its back, and I had
Amazing.
just started using the soul blade.
Mhm.
And
That's
like
fun.
it was like
Yeah.
13-year-old fantasy. Like this is everything I've ever wanted to do is fly dragons and throw
Yeah.
fireballs and swing swords.
The biggest moments to me are Kaito using his Bunjaku ability
die
in the
move?
amble, his die move in the amble belt.
Uh-huh.
Kaito using the same move to kill the Sovereign.
Mm.
Kaito and Adam having the standoff.
Kaito.
Sensing a
Yeah.
bias.
Absolutely, that's the last one with him. Yeah. Other like huge moments is the dance with the stab Lauren. That
The
was one of the
worst.
biggest moments.
Oh.
Wilt Lucius being resurrected.
Mm.
I know there's more like super just big things that happened.
My favorite moment was when I wasn't here and then sped to your house.
That
to
was a
jump
great-
on Strife.
that
Oh
was
my god, yeah.
very
good.
The
Oh, yeah.
fucking WWF like interruption. Oh my god, he slid in with the steel chair.
Yeah.
Adam, it was
One
like
really
the best thing ever.
Great
Like,
part,
Oh my god.
I think, in season 2 was when Miguel and Adam spoke for the last time.
Oh,
and
that
he
was-
was like,
yeah.
"I'm leaving. I'm going away now,"
Yeah.
and like had the note from Misty.
Yeah,
And that moment was like, I think it's such a good, like,
that was a great moment.
like heavy on the chest. I think on that one.
Adam had a lot of good. I think he had a lot of very heartfelt moments that
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
really
He-
like. I feel like every time there was a moment with Adam and like Delilah or Adam and Mercury or there were so many good moments that you had.
He
We,
was-
we were all just sit there like dead quiet like.
Yeah, because
God.
Adam, I believe, was definitely the most relatable character to all of
Mhm,
us. Like
mhm,
to viewers or to players or whatever. Like he's such a protagonist, like he's definitely like, if we were to like boil like down like who like the central focus of the whole campaign could possibly have been, like Adam is definitely like the number one guy. I feel
like I don't know if it was because he always had the complication of like when he's sad something happens, that like I kind of wanted to play him like he gets sad, like, so like sad stuff kind of just happens to him.
Well, not only that, but you also had the opportunity to express that in a way that was like, you're like, I can't do this, I have to go somewhere. And like that like elopement kind of like took you around and to places that we couldn't go.
Right.
And
Literally.
it gave you a lot of chances to like do unique things and have like these unique experiences outside, like how we say the NPC characters are very living their own life. It was like Adam had his own life going on, despite like everything else.
It represented like that these characters were like three-dimensional, and that there were like things that they could get bothered by that would absolutely disrupt their motives and their goals and their powers and like hurt their feelings. As simple as that. Like it, like their feelings got hurt, and Adam's were like top of the list of just like going through shit all the time.
He's a teenager, you know?
And that was something I don't think anybody ever forgot about when we were playing these characters, was that they were practically kids. Like, and as such, like we treated and played them that way. And maybe it came out in us like playing self-inserts and whatever and goofing around and whatever, but I think that fed into the personalities of our characters and made them more authentic, like, as we played them.
One of the things because like earlier when I said like I kind of built like eventually I built a part of Adam to be like he makes dumb decisions, like that's like he's a goofball, but that's such a 16-year-old. Exactly. But I wanted to make it so he was like he goofs around, makes bad decisions, and then sometimes there's consequences to those bad decisions. But then he thinks that's my fault because I made a bad decision. But then like the next day he's like, I'm a goofball, so I'm gonna make a bad decision. Like, and it's just like
honestly, like back to that thing where Elias and Adam were leaving that fortress and just make the dumbass decision, this dumb bullheaded move of let's just go out at the front. You're mad at us for doing it, but that's two 16-year-old boys. That's two 16-year-old boys with superpowers thinking they're the shit.
There's nothing that I'm truly mad about. It's just the funny.
No, but like, I'm just defending bad decision making, but it works. But it works and it makes sense in the context of the characters. You know.
I think one of my favorite parts too was when we were in the Converging Expanse. Like in, I think it was Hamadi Khan, when we were fighting all the crab people, and we just happened to find Cedric, right?
Xavier. Oh, well, you found both of them there.
Right.
Xavier when he was, that you killed all the crab people, and then he was like, they're like, leader, help us, and he's like, hello. And then Cedric in the arena, he was the great warrior.
Right. I think that was a fun part.
Something. I wanted to bring up real quick that I wanted to talk about earlier that we didn't get to when we were talking about the V thing. It ties in really well with like character motivations and things like that. Now is when the romance thing came about towards Elias, I never entered this game with the intention of that being a focal point at all. I never had that as a goal in mind, and I don't think I ever considered that being a possibility for Elias either. So when that hit, it kind of happened almost like that was like my genuine reaction both as character and player of, wait a minute, oh my god, what's going on? This has never happened to me before. What do I do? And again, that's so 16-year-old kid. Like just kind of things kind of I feel happened the way that they were supposed to a lot of the time in this campaign.
I am quite fond of using romance and love in roleplay, like tabletop games. It's like one of my favorite things. Like I always like having a romantic interest in when I play, and like having that with like an NPC, or like giving that to characters. Like romance in of itself is such a wonderful emotion to play and to expand upon and to delve into in any sort of storytelling, right? And it's so interesting to see how my friends react to when I give them an NPC that they like literally fall in love with, right? Who they like, I want to smooch them, right? And it's so like, I think maybe because like you can't have those interactions in the world, but it's just different, right? Like it's not like I'm actually coming on to you as a person, right? It's this, hey, let's explore this with our characters and create this amazing story using these motives.
I don't know. I've seen you
motifs.
come on to David way too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife tried to kill him. I don't know. Oh, another favorite moment was the moment of realization when the cannons were being aimed right down on you guys above Nabaya, and you were like, no, and then you know that was definitely a moment of super pride that you guys were like so on board on one direction, and then immediately when it all clicked into place for everybody at once, just like, oh shit, we're on the wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I think one of my favorite parts was there's two main parts that really got me, and actually both of them are with V. When the pillars came out, like before with the Jackie and V, when I like stabbed her or like threw a knife at her, and then immediately after that, like we have to ask for her help and be like, ah shit, we fucked up, and having that like dramatic moment where like Elias is in danger and like basically the entirety of like New York City's in danger, and just having to flip that switch so much. And also when V brought Elias and Jackie to for her brother when she was feeling guilty.
Yeah. That was a
really good moment. Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, that was a lot of I was really looking forward to bringing that moment to life in some way and finally closing the book on that arc. Just because I like V so much.
That was another moment that kind of plays into what I was saying earlier about Jackie and Elias being kind of like two sides of the same coin. Like having that situation with V, where we were kind of the only ones that could kind of bring closure to that situation.
Yeah, right. There's this like connection between Jackie and Elias that I think is like, it just reminds me of like, oh, when they get old, even if like the whole group kind of splits away from each other, I feel like they could get back together and just be completely back on the like same page they were before. Yeah, you know, they just have this weird like,
it was almost like it was sibling.
Yeah,
it felt sibling.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
You know, fuck Adam.
Yeah.
He's get him out of here. He's a kid.
He's gone.
He's the spoiled rich adopted kid.
Yeah. I have a question. I didn't write down.
Wait, there's.
Why?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh, there's a lot of questions in chat.
Yeah, Sean's been
doing one of those.
Do other things. Logic had a question.
Power level next campaign, too spoilery.
Have you?
TBD? Lower than 9.
Lower than 9. You heard it here first.
Also, what would each of you have done different, and objectively least favorite moments?
Okay. Which one's first?
What have you done? What would you have? What would each of you have done?
I think we did. I think we answered this at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we came in kind of late. You missed a lot of the juicier questions in the first hour and a half. I know, huh?
I would have added more scenes with Cam and Barbosa.
I would have kept a little power with the entity.
Yeah.
Rewind.
Yeah, go back. You'll see it. You'll see it.
No time powers, please.
No.
And then least favorite moments?
Yeah.
That's tough.
I don't really have.
Like, you know.
I mean, I got one shot a lot, so like.
Yeah, that kind of
one
sucks.
shot.
So many times.
See,
all or nothing,
man.
Fuck.
I have 8 toughness, or Adam had 8 toughness. That's not low.
I had 7.
Yeah, that's not low. I just got one shot all the time.
So funny. Amazing. I don't know that I had like
the
least favorite.
Even those moments weren't bad.
So what happens with when you're making a story as it's going, like it's like an improv role play experience, those moments that you dislike can have the potential to turn into these grand, amazing moments, right?
Yeah.
Like Maydower died, you guys failed. Damn, I feel like shit. But imagine if you succeeded, just it wouldn't have been a strong.
No, that moment wouldn't have mattered to us nearly as much.
You would have beat up Barbosa. She would be like, "Damn, I'll get you kids next time," and then fled.
Yeah, that fight would have felt like the fight with Luther. Like we fucking trounced him, and now like that fight isn't brought up very often because like nothing really out of
mean, that
the
was
realm
like-
of expectation.
Right.
That was a
happened.
combo fight of you fought Luther with
Yeah.
Judge Brem.
Yeah,
Right.
and that on it, like, that sounds formidable, but it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Mhm.
Like, it was hard when it happened, but like the repercussions weren't very heavy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Elias learned a lot about Animus, but
Yeah.
aside from that, like, they're
There's not so much a result
Right.
from the specific fight
Yeah.
as
Right.
opposed to like, okay, now we can go in this room and
That's
Yeah.
why, to be completely honest, that's why I keep my crappy metal dice that never rolls well.
Yeah.
Because when I get one shot or when we fail, it always makes us be like, okay, but now what do we do?
Right,
How do
yeah.
we overcome this?
Yeah, something I love about doing this is like when we fuck up,
Yeah.
like that's when the best things happen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if everything just went perfectly all the time, like this would be so boring.
Yeah.
It's funny
yeah.
because I always see like, because like when you ask the question like if you're watching somebody, because you like shows you like you're like, oh, what was your least favorite part, or like when you I just imagine when you go to Comic-Con, you ask these people and they're always like, I didn't really have a bad part, and it's so unsatisfying, but it's so true.
Or so like artificial. I
it's
think
like, no, really, I
Yeah.
just didn't. It's like, come on, you had to. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I can't say that I did.
I think like if I had to pinpoint it, it's not really like a least favorite moment, but more so a least favorite situation that would arise is when we get hit with like either we have a bunch of options but they're all unclear to us, so we're all just kind of in a standstill of
Yeah.
We're all like dum
what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, you guys
like
talk-
we
you
need
guys-
to pinpoint what to do and go for it, or else we're just
Yeah.
gonna stand here and question where
that
we're going
that
to go.
is so tabletop role playing
Yeah.
games, right?
Yeah.
That is so like we have all these options.
Or the worst.
I don't know what to do.
I think the worst thing, and this is about any tabletop role play game, is when you know what to do, but your character didn't roll well enough to know what to do.
Yeah,
So you're just
yeah.
like,
Make a perception roll.
fuck.
Yep, it's like Adam's perception.
Yeah.
Always below a 10 no matter what.
You're like, all right,
Yeah.
I guess
Yep.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, something that kind of like pushed those situations along though was being on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that kind
Yes.
of threw pressure on us to like we have to think quick and get this show on the road.
Having
Yeah.
I mean having 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours to do anything on here is both it sucks that you want to have those sessions of, all right guys, meet at noon, get out at midnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, you
We're
know,
gonna order
and just-
pizzas and we're
Yeah,
gonna play
yeah.
all day.
Right.
I do miss those days. And
Yeah,
I
me too.
miss, unfortunately, I don't think you ever really had that experience, Corey, of like being able to do that.
You know,
Only
session
like
zero,
when,
kind
when
of.
we had
Yeah.
when we did those, but even still like we'd play at night, but like we would do like 6 to midnight.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I like having the option to be like, let's just start early today, and we'll go like real late
I
and
don't
play
know.
all day.
I don't
Yeah.
know how I did that shit before,
Dude.
of doing like 6 hours.
In our
like-
D&D campaign that we played, that we did like 12-hour sessions.
Oh my god.
I don't know how we just kept going.
You guys are getting old. You guys sound old right
Well,
now.
just
Taylor,
as-
Taylor knows. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like as a GM, because I have such a super specific way of doing things and how it's plotted out. Like I could never imagine being like, all right, now improv for 12 hours and still make it as like curated and good. I'd be so stressed. I'd have like 4 more notebooks of just like, and this could happen and this could happen.
It's a different play style though. I mean, when you're playing like that, it's very much like you're not playing. You're not necessarily always playing for the story. You're playing
Yeah.
because it's fun to play.
At that point, it's
Right.
just like, all right, battle.
I was
Right.
gonna say
Battle.
it did help when we had those really long sessions. It was like a group of 10.
Right.
So like every time we were in combat, the combat itself would take like 3 to 4
Oh
hours.
my gosh, so
God,
long.
fuck that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
because we used to have like 8 people
Yeah.
You'd have to wait
or
like,
more.
It's like
Insane.
30
Yeah,
minutes,
oh my
30 to
God.
40 minutes until your turn came.
Yeah.
Fuck
Right.
that, dude.
Legit.
That was rough.
But
I would have started smoking again. Just out of boredom. Like, all right, what are we doing now? Is anybody ready yet? All right, I'm gonna go back outside. Let me know.
But then you always have those people who I like, who like have their turn down pat.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It gets their turn, like, all right, move here, do that, roll my dice,
I'm
I hit,
done.
okay, good, next, and you're like, hey, your turn, man.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh god, I used to
All the
hate
time.
that
That would happen
shit.
all the time.
I think we hit a perfect sweet spot with our 3-hour chunks to do this, because like we did just enough to like we finish like
No, let's go to 6.
we finish a big long series. Usually the first half of the episode is story building and us reacting to situations and having great dialogues and stuff, and then we end up in a fight or a situation where we're navigating to a fight.
Yeah.
And then it closes off there just as we're kind of either hitting fatigue or like we're still excited about things, and it leaves us excited for the next week.
Yeah.
Like 3 hours is, I think, the perfect chunk of time for this.
I agree.
I don't know how the fuck you guys watch us every week for 3 hours straight.
I know.
I would love to do a special one shot of like Initiative the movie.
Where we try to do the whole thing in an hour.
No, opposite. We have like
24
a
hours
6-hour
straight.
episode.
Oh,
Like
I
a
wouldn't be
grand.
against doing like a marathon episode.
Yeah.
24-hour stream of Initiative.
Fuck that. Never mind. I will see you
let's
guys
go. Put it
next
in the
time.
works. Let's go.
No, but I would
24
definitely, if I
hours.
had the time.
If we hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, we'll do a 24-hour.
Oh my
24 hour
fucking
initiative stream.
god.
That's
Hell
it.
yeah.
You heard it.
1,000 subs. I'm doing
I mean, they
that.
did just donate.
1,000
so-
subs. 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
How many do we have now?
Yeah, right. I don't think
I
we're
can't
getting
tell you
there,
without
folks.
fucking up the.
Anyway, yeah, if we hit that, like, I need to have the time to recuperate afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like a
Can we have a
adventure.
24-hour beach episode?
I mean, we did skip our 24-hour charity stream this year,
We did.
So-
Unfortunately.
that's cool.
so we
I
need
know.
to make up for it.
Sucks.
We need to make up for it.
Yeah.
24
24-hour initiative,
Hedgehog.
except the chat gets to control what happens.
Oh my god, the interactive episode.
What could you imagine? It's like what was the Netflix thing? The
The Black
The
Mirror
Black
episode
Mirror,
thing.
or the
Yeah,
stupid
Black Mirror.
Boss Baby fucking.
What?
There's a Boss
you mean
Baby
Boss Baby?
interactive.
Oh my god.
Did you mean Boss Baby? We made them fuck.
Any more questions?
What
the fuck did you just Dude, not only did we make the parents fuck,
What?
but also it gave us a game over.
What? You guys played
When we
this?
played Boss Baby.
We played Boss Baby!
You guys, no, you
Let's
guys,
play Boss
you guys should play Boss Baby for the channel.
You're right.
Like, you should let's
I don't
play
think
the
I'll
Boss
let
Baby interactive fucking Netflix thing on the channel and get fucking all the repercussions of the flags
we can't
and
spoil
copyrights.
the next campaign.
Yeah.
It takes place
The
in the
next
Boss,
Boss
Baby,
Baby
universe.
Biologically we can say
Oh my
Boss
God.
Baby.
Jesus
The
fucking
interactive
Christ.
Boss Baby movie where you
Wait,
can get
wait.
your parents to fuck.
And then they're like, you lose.
You made them fuck. Now you have another kid. Another sibling.
Now you are no longer the Boss
Now there's
Baby.
a Bosser Baby.
Wasn't there a sequel? Wasn't that?
Now
one?
there's
Oh,
a
who
baby or
cares?
boss.
It's a whole, I don't know, BBCU.
And
That's something else.
Don't ever say
Something else.
those letters in that sequence.
I don't know
ever
what you're
again.
talking. It's just the
Alright,
Boss
let's
Baby
reel it in, let's reel
cinematic
it in,
universe. What
guys.
did you guys think?
fucking reel that shit
Fucked
in.
up.
All right.
Oh my god.
If nobody has any more questions, I have one last one for
Do
everybody.
you have
Alright.
any more? What do we got?
Oh,
Hold on, let me
I
check my
think
list real quick.
Mine were all
God.
gone over. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
my questions were covered.
I'm pretty much spent.
We good?
Yeah, I think so.
Was that pill really a placebo?
Yes.
Are you sure?
1000%. I know you want to hear something
I
different.
still don't
Double.
believe you.
The pill was 1,000,000,000% a placebo.
It was a Flintstone
Oh,
gummy.
wait, I have a question. What were the vials of adrenaline meant for?
Yeah, because we
That we
gave
if
this
you took
to-
them, you would have had
dead.
4 power points.
Mm.
It would have given you guys power points for
Damn.
the final fight. And you had 1 extra to give to a friend to give them powers.
Mm,
Or augment powers.
shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what it's called neo adrenaline. That's
Mm.
what it's formally called.
Nice. Love it.
I missed that.
Okay, that it?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's about it.
All right, well,
Anybody have any last thoughts or things to say
If
about
chat has
this
any last questions,
campaign?
speak
Anything?
now or you will never
Um,
know.
yeah,
Any
I mean,
closing thoughts about the last 3 years that we
Fuck!
spent doing this?
Damn, really
These
was.
characters?
fuck it, do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I mean, this is great. This is such a fun time, and it's
Mm.
become such a big part of my life right now. You know, like every single day I'm working on initiative stuff in some way, shape, or form, whether it's going on paper, whether it's working in Photoshop, whether it's doing stuff for the channel, something. Like, it's become like a full-time job in of itself, in the best of ways, to manage and work on this and you know, like, we used to write novels together, Cory
Yeah.
and I, and stuff, and this
Yeah.
has become that sort of replacement for that, of
Yeah.
like the creative outlet.
Yeah, we just used to do a weekly podcast.
Mm.
Yeah.
KTX podcast.
Right.
That's how it all started.
Yeah, I miss doing that. I miss
remember
popping in
those.
on that. I would love to do just hour talks about random bullshit.
I
here
used to
and there
sit
again
in the
when we
background.
can.
Yep.
Yeah, like popping in on those was always a great time.
Yeah.
I wish I was able to do those more.
It's evolved to a lot. And every time I see someone talk in chat, with Logic or Taylor or Sean or Neo or Astros donating 5 subs or whatever it is, any support at all, it fuels me.
Oh, here's a highlight.
Fuel.
Yeah.
When Neo's first fan art came out.
Oh.
Yeah.
When this person, we have no idea who they are, suddenly just posted on Twitter like, "Hey, I'm watching the show and I drew the characters," and
Oh
all
my
of us were
god.
just
All of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our minds
Like,
were blown.
That was kind of almost the first time like anybody like even in our group had seen like these characters fleshed
Right.
out. Like
Yeah.
we drew like crappy pictures
Right,
of them in the
yeah.
little like fucking
little
2x3
square, yeah.
inch space they give you in the bottom corner.
Yep.
But like that was it. We never saw our characters in color.
Yeah.
I think that was the weirdest thing was because I don't know. I'm sorry, I gotta get my brain together.
Yep, a bit.
Especially because I guess none of us are really social media,
Savants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of us are really like active community members.
Yeah.
And so to get that initial like, oh my gosh, somebody that's not one of us.
Yeah, we spent a good week after we got that first fan art being like, is this someone we know?
We were
did
tr-
someone
yeah,
know
we were,
this
Yeah,
could
we were
work
so
out?
actually
skeptical of
trying
it.
to
Yeah.
figure it out. We were like,
Yeah.
this has to be somebody, because like, there's no way.
And I know we talk about a lot about the people who watch us on Twitch, but everyone who watches us on Spotify
The real
or
MVPs.
any podcast form, whether it's Podnod or whatever, just you guys are amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whether
like-
it be whether it be from Logic always with us, talking to us, and asking stuff, doing great in Discord. Taylor, our amazing mod,
Mhm.
since freaking day one over here,
Yeah.
doing so well on that end. To lurkers, right?
Right.
Yeah,
know?
it's so amazing to know that this story that takes up like so much time of our lives, and we spend so much like energy
Right.
pumping all of like
Yes.
this into, doesn't fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, yeah.
and
This-
gets viewed and is appreciated by people that come across this.
It
Yeah.
started as a fun thing to try out, and it became something that we genuinely enjoyed setting up and talking to people about that we don't know, and just having that experience with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it all started with us doing that 15 sessions or whatever it was and thinking, hey, like, we're onto something here. And this is
Yeah.
a lot better than we think it is. And people should see this.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I really want to like have it expand outward to like help friends, and like I want to have more friends on, or I want like Adam, go watch our Kids on Bikes stuff, and even if you don't watch it, go follow Adam _crit success, I believe it is, on Twitter and stuff. Like
He's
he makes amazing works, and like to be able to do stuff with him and such talented people like
Dude
that.
makes games.
Yeah, he makes
Yeah.
tabletop games. He's great.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
I want to do that more. I want to be able to have that influence of like, hey, we really enjoy something and we see something really cool with other people, like how we raid other people and stuff.
Right.
I really want like to shout them out and do stuff with them, and
If you want to see us grow as much as we would like to grow, then just keep on watching, keep on listening, keep on supporting us, and eventually it's going to become a much bigger
yeah,
production, and we're going to be able to do so much more
Yeah.
than this, than this. Not to say this is nothing, but,
Yeah, but look how far we've gotten in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, just everyone needs to know that every single dollar we get from any of this goes straight back into the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Goes into equipment,
Yep.
into whatever, the overlay, the art,
Art.
we just
Camera, like
we
mics.
work hard to make a higher quality.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just it's like it's really tough to do this in some levels,
Mhm.
but like it's all worth it
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
in a lot of degrees. And that's it.
Yeah.
In other
It's our
words,
closing
also
thoughts.
leave those likes, comments, favorite, subscribe.
Yeah.
For the love of God, share us.
Yeah, tell everyone you know.
We're terrible on social media,
Hey.
please.
You send us an email, keeptappinx@gmail.com. Like we'll read it.
We'll read it ecstatically.
It's
Yeah.
literally
'Cause we
the
did.
4 of us. I guess 5 of us, because Blake, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blake is 100%
Yeah.
TTX. He's always, he pops in chat.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
says, I have no idea what's going on, and I'm not really like into
But
tabletop
he's here
games, but
for
like
us.
go watch them.
Right.
You know.
But he pours his heart and soul into our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Blake is the YouTube guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you like Dokkan Battle,
Or Flashback.
Or if
I
you
love
like old-
Flashback.
Flashbacks are most popular ones. So if you like old, Flash games, go
Yeah.
check
I'm
out our
still
YouTube.
proud of the music I made for that.
Yeah, Cory did the intro
Yeah.
music.
If you are in Twitch chat right now, we'll be wrapping up soon, but stick around because we're gonna raid and we're gonna make someone's day.
Yes.
We're gonna make someone's day. together.
Hell yeah! All right, everybody else on Spotify, if you like what you see here, check out. Love this chair. Check us out next week, 6:30 p.m. at twitch.tv/keeptappinx. Check us out on all our social medias at keeptappinx. Next week we are going to be here. We're going to be
Doing something.
Doing
yeah,
something.
doing something.
Campaign, don't expect it for like a month.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
expect it for a while.
don't expect it for a little bit. No
But
hard
be
time.
excited for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming.
It's-
We've got things we need to flesh out. but-
Check out if you're like, oh man, but like, I just want more of these guys. Check us out on Discord. We're always active on there and like talking and doing stuff in there.
Reddit too. We're kind of dipping our toe into Reddit, I
Yeah,
guess.
Mutants and Masterminds Reddit, we're posting on there.
Yeah.
Can we get a KTX subreddit or initiative
Be
subreddit?
careful what you
subreddit.
wish for.
Yeah, right.
All right. So we'll see you next week. We love you guys. Bye.
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 Bye.